Yeah. La la la. Oh yeah. And I want to tell people what I want help with for Wall to the Vault.
All right.
This is a shout out.
Hello, and welcome to Jason Cavness Experience. I'm your host, Jason Cavness. Our guest for the second time is my friend Kelly Kirk, financial literacy enthusiast and Walter of the Vault's director of content and innovation. Kelly, thanks for being here again. I appreciate
What's up? First is the worst, second is the best. So glad to be back, and it'll be the best.
it. So give us like an update on how your company's doing since the last time you've been here.
Yeah, Wall to the Vault's going really well. I kind of made an announcement to anyone that like cares on my LinkedIn yesterday or 2 days ago that I really want to like, you have to be intentional with your focuses. And I really want to focus a bit more on like studying personal finance for myself. And it's because I've gotten Wall to the Vault in this kind of great place where it's self-sustaining. And just to like kind of go back in history really quick, my business partner, Karen Tenenbaum, who passed away recently, she kind of like snuck me into this event. And it was kind of this like weekend event where only the people that were allowed like had to be making over 6 figures, 7 figures. And like the idea is they're like burnt out CEOs that are making like multi-millions of dollars. And then they go through this like week-long event that's like workshop courses, and it kind of teaches you how to like, get out of this like, the like stuckness, and then create that, bring your business to that next level. And what they'd found is that, like the biggest common theme in a lot of these CEOs, or at least what resonated most, was that everyone's trying to do everything. And that these CEOs are so burdened down in making these companies successful, and yet they feel like they can hardly even sleep because there's so much that needs to be done. And so they were retraining all these CEOs and stuff they said like, I always say like my spirit animal is like an octopus, right? Or maybe I have like 8 different skills I'm really good at. And one is design, one is music, one is teaching. And they said, really find people who have that same perspective as you, that same taste in music, that same passion for teaching, and hire those people to like, display that amount of energy and excitement in that category. So I've been taking that mindset the past kind of year extremely intentionally to bring on people that I can trust to kind of take over and force myself to step away, step away, step away. So it's really gotten to this point where I have a really great team, a lot of leaders, and it's growing like really well. I have a huge vision, and so yeah, it's going really, really great. And I think here, within the decade at the most, it'll be hopefully a household name and helping people with financial literacy.
So Kelly, y'all actually like getting ready to interview and hire some teachers. Are they being called teachers, or are they being called something else?
Yeah, teachers, definitely.
Can you talk about like what kind of teacher you're looking for, like what characteristics, or like what should someone have already within the values and characteristics that would make him like someone you want to hire?
Well, I'll say this. This is my second round of bringing on teachers now. The first time, I thought it'd be really fun. I would love the idea of, I feel like, of glamorizing education and glamorizing being a teacher. Because right now it's like less and less like that. Like, the education is like imploding from the inside out. And so everyone's like quitting their teaching jobs and frustrated. So it's time for like new people to come in that are excited about it. And I'm like a self-taught teacher. So at first I was trying to kind of bring on like all these people who are like, wow, I love financial literacy. I'm so excited to start teaching. Like I've never done this before. And so there were just like too many things that they weren't familiar with, and too many questions that were like, and then I wasn't, being the best leader, but it's also because I kind of put myself in this position where they had way too many questions to ask me. So now I'm bringing on people. Actually the company I work with hosting classes host a bunch of teachers, like individual teachers and then organizations. And so they shouted out to everybody, like, you guys want to work together? Let us know. And then all the teachers could look and pick the organizations to work with. And so anyway, all these teachers have multiple 5-star reviews. Like they're all like really, really qualified, familiar with teaching online. They know the system. And now they're coming to work for us. And again, I've got an assistant who in the past I would really be taking over this. If I had free time, I would think about it. I kind of used to be like, in my free time, let me think about Wall to the Vault. And now I'm like, no, girl, if you want to study in your free time, focus on, stocks and stuff, and let your team do it because they're amazing and they do such a good job with it. And so it's really helping me kind of grow that sustainably with the team.
So Kelly, what does a teacher actually do for y'all? Like, do they have like an online class that teach 30 kids? Like, what's a day-to-day for a teacher that's going to work for you?
Right. And honestly, if anyone watching wants to apply, go for it. Or anything that I'm talking about, you want to try, like, I'm kind of like, I want to build, I don't know what I'm doing. I do and I don't. I know what I want to build, but I'm kind of open door to anyone wanting to join, to at least give it a try. So what are the teachers? We have all of our classes on a website. It's kind of like like a Netflix almost, where you select the classes and then they just host them and they just click through, and it's a 1-to-1 class. And I'm kind of modeling something I've seen done really well before. And yeah, they just host a half-hour class. And what I've seen in the past is parents, especially with young kids, love to like kind of watch over. And I think that's going to be a great appeal to our classes, is because it's that personal finance. It's all these basic values that are, helpful for everybody to get a refresher on.
So Kelly, in a pre-talk, you said you're going to give a speech at Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, so, yeah, maybe you're like Cleveland or some place.
In Ohio, somewhere in Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio.
C town, C name.
Somewhere in the Midwest. I'm giving a speech. I think it's Columbus, Ohio, but I don't want to,
And what are you going to talk about? Like,
well, I'm talking 5 innovative ways to teach kids about money. So that's one speech I'm giving. And then I also just applied for another one. And the name I like also, it was Dollars Make Sense, Why Kids Love Learning About Money. And I'll just tell you, like, we've been trying now to sell Wall to the Vault for like over 25 years, not me, but as a whole. And everyone's always like, I really don't like that they use this word for that. Like, it's not sexy enough. And I'm like, dude, you guys just obviously aren't teaching the right stuff, because it's like so freaking fun. Like, it doesn't need to be sexy, but it is fascinating to kids talking about taxes, income, spending. Like, they love learning about money. And so I think if people can, be told that again, like, they'd be so surprised, and it's so useful. Yeah.
So the motto's dollars make sense.
Yeah, that one's Dollars Make Sense.
Okay. Have you ever heard of this rapper named DJ Quick?
No, but I know there's
he has a song called Dollars Make Sense.
Oh, I know there's a book called Dollars and Cents. So I was trying to like bust away from that.
Yeah.
I probably should have known this song, but probably lots of people know it. Well, hopefully it's the lyrics that we are in line with.
Good.
Oh, I'm like blushing. I'm like, uh-oh, what's it gonna be saying? And I did not see. This is the thing, though. I always say your intentions are really what matter. You can always make mistakes. So let's see. But it's probably a good song. I know it's hard to type on demand when right, all the time semi matters. Maybe it's okay. Here we go. Dollars and Cents. See, there's a book called Dollars and Cents too. Thank goodness. I mean, just in case. You guys, the audience is exciting. They're getting a live reaction video out of this also. Nice.
He's going to send it in a minute.
I love it.
Yeah, this is like from the 90s or something. So you
totally
wouldn't know that.
No, but it's awesome. I know. I was like, I love it. And then I sip my coffee like meme-ish, but I really do mean I love it.
Yeah.
I've just been waiting to be able to sip this because it's hot.
Yeah, it's hot as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's like you don't think it'd be so hot because it makes it so fast.
Yeah. Well.
Yes, that's a song from the 90s. Yeah. That made me think of it. Yeah.
Right.
And so you already have like a draft of your speech done or anything like that, or you still have to work on it?
Oh, yeah. Well, some of these you have to like present the whole thing,
Okay.
So and I guess like, the fun thing you could talk about there and like be honest. And I even need to look in the mirror and be honest is like, I kind of want to hint at the fact that I have this fantastic show that I'm trying to make and, like Wall to the Vault, but you don't want to go up there and be a commercial,
Yeah.
So finding that, beautiful balance of 90% info, 10% Wall to the Vault.
And you know how many people are going to be there? Like how many people are going to talk in front of?
It's the 64th annual. So
you think it'd be more than one person, right?
No, be more. Yeah, probably. I don't know though. But then again, I saw a picture. I don't know. We'll see. I never really have expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though, I'm not going to say which city, but I do go to a lot of random events. And one time I went to a city of blah, blah, blah's lunch event to meet, someone or whatever in Newark. Of everywhere, the lunch paid for by the city was the lamest catering of all. That's lame wrap, lame cookie, lame chips. And it was one of the most expensive. So anyway, step up your catering or whatever, or don't. But
hey, Kelly, anything else you want to talk about walk to your company before we move on to all the stuff?
Okay, so I guess I would say like Wall to the Vault, and I even made this in my post that the more I can learn this stuff, like, like stocks, finance, that's, like what the heck, all this kind of complicated stuff, and then simplify just these basics, the better. And so I think like, that's why I want to get back into stocks and studying all that stuff for a bit, just for fun for me. And I'm writing a lot of music. And so one thing I want to do now is really turn up my music. Like, okay, I'll tell you a funny story. When I was a kid, like me and my neighbors all did this like band audition where everyone played a different instrument, and then we all decided as a group who was the best at each instrument and then who would be each band, like, like member of the band and what they would do. And this is not like, okay, this story, like I was thinking about this recently, like, well, it was a little rude, but I decided I was the best at everything. So we weren't able to make a band because I was like, I just can't work with these people. You know what I mean? Which is like now I'm like, oh my God, like that is so stupid. But when you're young, whatever. So part of me is like, okay, now I'm getting, if anyone wants to join my band, come on, you're gonna learn how to play the drums. You're gonna learn, at least try. Like if you really want to try, like let's go. I have quite a few people that have worked for me for a few years now that like they're awesome because they didn't stop giving up and we really figured it out. But my point is, like I want help writing music. I want help writing music so that my music is really awesome, because I guess it's gotten to that point that I've been writing music now and I like really just figured it out, like taught myself GarageBand and I've done it, over the years, and now I'm making this music and I just feel like I'm sick of waiting on people. Let me make it myself. And now I want to make this music again. I want to make it better. I want to make it high quality. I want to make it like so everyone enjoys it and not just like niche audiences that like me. And that, so it's just like epic, great music. So if anyone's musician, producer, especially in the Seattle area where like, you don't want to work together, you're excited about financial literacy, and you like songwriting and yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for right now.
So what kind of music do you play? Like is any certain genre or all
Oh,
types?
okay. I love that you asked this question. So I really want to make like I think it's very schoolhouse rock, but it reminds me like this 90s song. It reminds me of like remember like the 90s and like all those like those classic CDs where they'd be like the greatest hits and they'd have like all these different kind of genres, but like they were all related to like the 70s, and it kind of was this sort of compilation, like even a musical, right? It has kind of a bunch of different themes. And so like I have a country song called like Credit is a Promise. It's like kind of a sad song. Like, credit is a promise to pay. And debit means you're paying right now. And then like I have a Christmas song I wrote. Like I want to have like every genre. Like nothing's off the limits. And I just think whatever. Yeah.
So what's your best instrument that you play the best?
Oh, I mean, I don't play any instrument. I'm really just doing it all in GarageBand. Like
Okay. Okay.
yeah, like I'm just like and then I
Okay.
just get like rabbit holed into my own music.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why I think, and I think like people want to do things themselves. And that's even, maybe I said this before, like that's why I told, my dad even like, and the people who know me best, just like, I think this can be amazing. I just need to find qualified, skilled people to help me. And then I can still be, doing everything myself, quote unquote, because I'm leading it, but getting like excellent help to help me make that come true. So,
All right. So next we're gonna move on to all this.
to all this stuff.
Yeah. So what is this stuff like?
Let me summarize. Okay, what's all this going on with like these stocks and everything? I think so. Like, okay, again, I guess I'll bring up my dad really quick. So I remember when I was young, he gave me this idea of like figure out who you want to be when you grow up. Like, look at these successful, like look at anyone and look at like someone who has a job you want to have, and then look how they got there. And then after COVID, my whole life, like I said, like I kind of want to have always something I believe in. Like I go to bed at night, like I feel like it's like good and true and value focused and helping people and not taking advantage of, not scamming, trying to do something like good and I'm proud of, and like a legacy, I can leave behind something great. And so I think over COVID, and also I'm kind of like, into math, logic, problem solving, strategizing, any game I love to kind of beat or just move on. And so I think over COVID too, I started seeing all these YouTubers who were my age and like multimillionaires, and they hadn't even graduated college. And so I was like, dang, that would be so cool to be like so, like rich and successful that you didn't have to like worry about it all. Like there really seems to be something here to finance and investing in the sense that it's like it's so efficient. Like it's so efficient because the whole point of work is to make money, and then you're making all that money so you can live your life. But if you cut all the crap out of there, forget about work, and you simply just learn how to make money, then you don't like it's like I guess I just realized it was kind of like a hack. Like and then again, the more I would listen to these people talk who are really successful, they say like all the money makings and investments, all the money makings and investments. And I'm even someone who grew up like, my grandpa like every day would just like watch the stock market, and I always would think like, what is he looking at? And so the more I started learning about how much money you can really make from investing, I realized like, okay, I'm making Wall to the Vault. I pay for Wall to the Vault. I'm not paid for Wall to the Vault because I just saw the value in it, and I can afford right now. Like I could like because of my passion with investing and because of my success in investing, I've been able to afford to like use the cash I made like a couple years ago and really, really, really live carefully by a budget and keep building out this stuff. So long story short, I think it's like a life hack where you, of course, like work and create something great, like I'm trying to, but also the more time you put into this, you can just learn how to make money and then really find these amazing opportunities.
So Kelly, what is I think it's called a short stock. What's a short stock?
Okay, shorts. Oh, and I heard this on that movie, Dumb Money, which I finally ended up watching. It's when you bet a stock price will go down. That's basically what it means.
So you're betting that the company's going to do bad.
Yes. And so you have a share that you loan away and you make money off of it, and then you need to buy it back eventually, but you bet that it's going to be cheaper. So buying it back cheaper, haha, you make money while it's hanging out, and then eventually when you own it again, you're buying it cheaper. Okay. And so it's kind of this whole risky thing. But yeah, you buy it cheaper. And so the way it would work, of course, is they could put, billion-dollar bets that these companies would go down, and they'd work with the media and they'd work with everyone. And then they'd successfully get companies to go out of business. So they'd make money. I mean, it's really like a sponge, just making money off of companies in every single way possible.
And so do people do things on purpose to make sure the company fails?
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't that kind of unethical though?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the biggest frustration about the stock market is because and that's even, I quoted it. If you looked on my LinkedIn where someone was saying it was this guy and his name is Peruvian Bull. His his online social name, and he's really into GameStop, and he was learning about Bed Bath & Beyond. And he grew up with a traditional financial literacy background. And he said, that's the craziest thing of all of this is he said GameStop made him question all of this is because you grow up in school and in finance saying every stock price is true. The market runs well. It's, it's honest. It's, everything. And it turns out the whole thing is kind of so yeah, and it's frustrating as someone, I'm trying to, so I'm again, I feel like so much is working at the top of your intelligence and you're so.
And so you started doing this stuff, and you said during COVID?
Yeah, but at the same time, I kind of was always taught to save money. And then I was taught about mutual funds growing up. And I was it's no one ever took the time for me to really get it though. It'd be more where you're okay, you're trying not to lose face. You're okay, I get that. Cool. And then later you're I don't know what he's talking about, or I kind of do. And then over COVID, I think I said before, when I was in Shanghai, I was so lonely because it started getting more and more cameras and all my friends were leaving and getting kicked out and everything and so creepy. And I remember turning to Netflix and just thinking wow, Netflix is such a comfort in this lonely thing. And I saw so many things about Shanghai that were futuristic, and why wouldn't they come to America? So I felt Netflix was something I could put a chunk of money into. And given the way that I understand how stocks work, if a company does better, your money goes up. It would. So I put some money into Netflix when I was living in China, and I made, plenty more money than I needed in China. A couple, your cost of living was low. So, $15,000 went really far. So, I wasn't putting $50,000 into Netflix. But the point is you could live off $15,000 for a year and still have $1,000 or $2,000 to invest. And so I put a large, I put about $1,000 into Netflix when it was at $90. And then a couple years later, it was up at $400. And so right around then is when I'd been learning about Dogecoin, literally. So you can see here, on January 28th, everything started, all these stocks kind of went off the chains. And on January 27th, I invested for the first time in Dogecoin. Big, hard, good.
That's Elon Musk Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, exactly. There was just a lot of attention paying around it. And there was this so fun. Like I said, there was
didn't Elon Musk do that as a joke, sort of, kind of?
It's hard to say how much of a joke it was. It was a joke. And then again,
I was trolling someone or something.
Trolling, but at the same time, I think he's kind of not trolling. I just think with all of this, it's really going to take, it takes patience. But I would not be surprised if Dogecoin has huge value in the future. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Or no value. So, yeah.
And so how do you decide what to invest in? What's the process?
I think what relates to
why Netflix versus all the other stuff you could invest it in?
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, I guess at that time I just felt okay, I know this company, I get their thesis, I could predict their future, I know people like it, I think the best is yet to come. For me, I was just I think that this seems like something to try. And so yeah, that's how I picked that one.
Okay.
And then it got to the point that Dogecoin was doing well. It flew up and then it went down. And then I was dude, how much, okay. And then I started learning about, a lot of people learn about investing as kind of this, keep it there forever because you got it at 90, but who knows, it could be 900 by the end. And I'm dude, even if it's 900, that's only doubling my money at this point. And so I wanted to take all of my money out and put it into Dogecoin because it was just Netflix money. It wasn't all of my worth. It was just this small pocket of money that woohoo. And then I was Dogecoin. And then I got talked into only doing half, which, like, it's fine. Like, again, it's all a learning journey, but I put half of my Netflix money into Dogecoin and then it excelled. And then I started realizing something's going on here. And again, that's where everyone kind of stops telling the story. It's like, that's where the common knowledge is like this January 28th, everything ended, but actually a whole bunch of crazy things were done. And ever since they've just been, the people in charge are just kicking the can, kicking the can, kicking the can, kicking the can, putting this off, building it up, building it up, building it up, building it up. To the point, it's building all this pressure of buying for literally 3 years that at any point it's going to explode. And I feel like I really feel like it's like a Bitcoin, like when Bitcoin was in the pennies and now it's,
yeah.
I think that's what's
So
going on.
short stocks, that's mainly with GameStop, Bed Bath and Beyond, those kind of companies, right?
For what?
For stocks, short stocks, those like GameStop stuff.
Well, shorts you could do on any stock.
Okay.
So heavily shorted stocks are stocks that have like so many shorts taken out. It's like, it's even to the point, like, let's say you had a stock in your company and you sold 100 shares. We're seeing that they're shorting like 700 shares. And you're like, where'd those extra 600 come from? And also, why are zero not shorted? Like, why are you 7xing that my company will and it loses value? I mean, it's like doing all these things. So heavily shorted stocks, there's a million. And so then the news will also pull in other stocks that aren't exactly related to any of this at all. And they'll go like, look, there's another, they call it like meme stock. And then everyone's like, dude, no, like there's kind of only like a couple. There's only like two main ones, I would say, which are GameStop and AMC.
But any corporation can be short stock, right?
Any stock can be short. Any stock can be shorted. They can all be shorted.
Okay.
And then naked shorting. So shorting is like when you take the stock and then you loan it out. And naked shorting is when you pretend to take a stock. So you actually just sell absolutely nothing at all.
So can someone like do this in a way like do a hostile takeover of a company?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's like a strategy that's been happening for decades. And I think that's what everyone's finding out. Now everyone's like, what the heck's going on? I thought this, and now it's like, what? A little bit.
And so YouTube, there's actually a pretty big community of people talk about this stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. It's YouTube. It was Reddit, but everything's getting cut off. It's every place people can talk, people are talking about it. The only thing is I would say it's
and all of them have pretty like large followings too, right?
Yeah, but also I would say it's very community based. Like I feel like everyone talks to everyone. It's not like one person's better than the other. It's because this hive mind, like so many people pick up on different things and there's so much to pick up on. And it's almost like, it's like an escape room where there's like all these different puzzles to solve and figure out what's going on here because it's taking so long.
Yeah. So one guy is a guy named Alex Becker.
Yeah, so he's really into crypto. So when I first was getting into and when I don't know what that was talking about, but actually he has really good advice at the beginning. Even the intro is his videos are awesome. And when I first was getting into crypto, I was watching this guy a lot. He's pretty famous. And the thing about YouTube is once you start getting into investing, it shows you these common people at first. And so Alex Becker is very popular at first. At least I think he shows up a lot. He's really like cocky, but then has some cool advice. And so at the time I was buying Dogecoin, everyone was like, diamond hands, never ever sell, never ever sell.
So diamond hands is that like a symbol?
Like your hands are literally diamonds and you will never get these shares out of me. Paper hands means you can take my shares. Diamond hands, like you're never ever getting rid of these shares because we realized. So he kind of was, so back in those days, everyone was diamond handing. That was way before all this research. And so he was saying like, look at the dodo birds. Like, are you about to diamond hand off a cliff? Like, some of this stuff isn't going to hold value. So like he said, no one ever lost from selling early. And so kind of listening to him, taking some advice from my family, I was like, that's true. And Dogecoin wasn't kind of this huge movement or anything. It was kind of just this like funny thing that I happen to make money off of. So he has a lot of really, really amazing videos though. He talks about like caffeine, alcohol, life strategies.
Yeah, and he has like 1.4 million subscribers. So a lot of people would listen to him.
Yeah, he's amazing. He has really, really good, just all around life advice. And so I think his four life skills, I was cracking up because I watched this. I said, oh my God, I'm doing those. It was like over COVID. The first one was like move away from friends and family and focus, and it was so funny because over COVID I totally moved away from like almost everyone I knew. And then I really got focused on stocks. So not bad advice.
So are you a fan of Elon Musk? You take him or leave him? God,
I think all of that kind of stuff is so complicated. I'm like, next question. Let's see, but it's really hard. It's so hard to, the thing that everyone says is like, oh, he could cure hunger, but it's like, yeah. So this is another guy who's really famous on the YouTube algorithms. He started off meet Kevin. He actually ran for governor of California too. And he started off like really into this AMC GameStop thing. And then I think he just has a lot he's focused on. He has a lot of connections. And so he didn't stay like really, it kind of sucked to see. because he was like really, like this is a big like stand. Like I think we've really found the like Achilles heel and like in a great moment to give like the middle class like this huge surge of wealth. And he kind of turned. However, he has just amazing videos. Like when I started learning about my credit score, he has this video of like how to make your first million. He's one of the people that I was like, dude, I'm just as smart as him. Like, let me figure out how he's doing what he's doing. And
So
yeah,
this off subject, but is that his actual head? His head looked like it's fake.
that's his head. Yeah, that's
Is
his
it?
head. That's his
It's like
head.
it's like it is. I don't know. Like it's like I don't know.
Oh my God, I've seen him a million times, so I don't see what you're saying, but yeah, I watch a few more
Yeah.
videos. That's his head.
So all these people do these videos. Do they have like any financial background? Do they have like do research? Like how do these people like learn this stuff? Right? Like
Right.
why should some random person look at these videos and like trust them, so to speak?
Right. That other guy, Alex Tucker, has like a couple companies he runs. He like dropped out of college, real estate agent, learned how to use debt to his advantage. I mean, it's just like kind of track records and they've just been around a while. But exactly, I mean, a lot of these people you just take their word. But then again, all these, certified financial professionals have no clue. They all think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
So, I think these days everything's whatever.
Do you have a favorite person you watch, or you just like to watch all of them?
Oh, I have like it just depends on what. It depends on what. This guy's still, yeah, this like Lou versus Wall Street, he actually recently died.
Oh, did he?
And he was one of the first people to come out. He's really controversial. Like he was like really like
This guy here?
yeah, yeah. He kind of would just leave these like, let me fill you in with what's going on. And like he'd be like, dude, like in a couple years now, 50 like chicken's gonna be $50. And he would kind of like predict all this stuff coming, and he really started explaining like how what's going on. They're selling fake shares. Anyway, but then it seems like he was actually getting paid by banks to start giving poor information, and then he recently
That's
disappeared.
a good point. Like these people, they make the predictions. Does anyone track them? Like suppose
Like the track record, the
yeah.
receipts, and exactly. And some of my favorite people, they're like, look at my receipts. I've been right forever. And so like, and then again, this like guy for real is so funny too. Like a lot of these people, and he like is really in the AMC community. He's like a rapper, and he like grew up on like Nickelodeon. And so he writes all these like he leaves like tangent videos, but also he writes all these like hilarious songs, like kind of metaphors for what's going on in the community. And so again, it's like, I mean, there's just so much of like community and information and fun and like knowledge coming from you everywhere. But like really people call people out when they're being like, unreliable and don't have receipts. And like, where'd you so it is this hive mind of the best of the best, or except for now that, things are getting taken over.
You might know this, but like, so this is community on YouTube doing all this stuff. What do you think that people like the actual, like the financial people like JP Morgan's, Bank of America, what do you think about all the stuff they're putting out? You think they agree with it or disagree with it?
Freaking out.
Freaking out?
Freaking out.
Because
The
exposing
cat's
them?
out of the bag.
Exposing them?
Yeah. I think they're freaking out completely. And I think the entire system's going to be totally revealed, reworked, everything. I mean, really, like when you, yeah. I mean, everything's getting exposed. That's what I wrote recently. I think this decade will be defined for its whistleblowers in every industry.
So what's your take on like stuff like Bitcoin, cryptocurrency? You're a fan of it, pro, con?
So I think it's really cool because of the real time action. And I've heard like a lot of rumors that they're possibly going to pull crypto and Bitcoin and like this blockchain into the stock market and into specifically GameStop. And these companies are working because at the moment, when you give money to a company to buy a stock, they actually could never, ever put it into that stock. Or they could take 35 days or they could take 3 days. It's like technically right now, I think they're at like T2. So I think they have 2 days to buy it, but also they can postpone it and do this and put it into this and put it. There's someone that like they're talking about making it T0. So it's exactly what you think it would be. It's exactly what you thought the stock market would be with modern day technology, that if you put money into it, it affects it right then and there. And so that's an update they're going to get to. So I like that aspect of just, tracking real time money.
It's crazy. It's 2024. If you write a check somewhere, it takes like 3 days to go from one bank to the other.
Yeah.
Which is me freaking insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess the difference between how easy is it to spend money versus get money too. It like takes a long time to receive money, but you can spend it in a second.
Yeah. They take the money out instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's this LUL?
Oh, just like a lull period.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, lull period, and then everything. Yeah. I mean, okay, so
and this is pretty much like your personal story of like events and stuff.
Stocks, honestly, like so basically, like this is that kind of period. Okay, so exactly. So after that January 28th, like everything, like the stocks went up and the things went up, and then all the news is talking about it, and then like they just start crashing. right? And everyone put all this money into it, and it was so new. And so exactly, it was this like lull period of like, okay, it hit the peak, and now the big money is back in control, and they've kind of been in control for the past 3 years, 4 years. And so especially at the beginning, it was that lull period going, uh-oh, what did I just put my money into? And is this boat right? Is this boat sturdy enough to carry all of us? Can AMC, can GameStop like hold us good? We really thought we were about to make really quick money here, or not, or, and of course, and take long. Like I'm ready for it to take a while, but also like, wait a minute, what do we put our money into? So everyone, I would say myself, like start studying businesses, and their business models rather than just this squeeze opportunity. Yeah.
So this is kind of off the wall question. You might not be able to answer, but like, let's suppose there's a financial person who like working on Wall Street. We're saying 1891. He came to 2024. What do you think? What do you think's reaction would be? We would think, man, this worked out how I thought it would work out, or like, what's going on here?
I think devastated. And I think there's quotes. It depends on like what year, what like this and that got written down. But there's a number of our presidents like in history that have said like if the people understood the banking system, they would revolt.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's happening is like now I'm starting to understand it. All these people are starting to get it and they're like, wait, what? And so maybe this is kind of a little bit of a way to like say this is enough. And it is by stop. I like stop. This game has stopped. I like actually like there. Yeah, there's just so much to it.
Yeah. So next, what's are you still investing in this kind of stuff? Like you still have investments?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So is that stock out there you haven't invested in yet, but you're like researching right now?
I'm only looking at these two businesses right
Okay,
now.
that's it.
Yeah, like there's just so much waiting on this to be resolved. And it's piling up more and more and more. And so I'm not saying anyone should like buy these. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying anyone should copy me. For me, I think this is something I'm really interested in. I think at first it was an opportunity to make money, but and they made these bets that these companies would go out of business. However, now these companies, there's no way they're ever going out of business, and so we've won. And so now it's just a matter of time until.
So what's the best way for someone to learn about all this? Just watch YouTube videos or like do their own research?
I would say like pick one. Like for example, let's say you wanted to. I would say just pick something and like just start learning. Like let's say I don't know which one sounds like more interesting to you, like a video game store or movie theater. For you, which one sounds more interesting?
Like probably video game store.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like exactly, you could just like look into GameStop and just actually start look at their balance sheets, like what are their future
projections. All that stuff's like public knowledge. Right?
All of this is public knowledge. Exactly.
They do what's called annual stockholder report or something they do?
Quarterly.
Quarterly, okay.
And so I think that exactly, it's like, okay, I hear you talking. That's like this Dogecoin thing too. It's like, I hear you talking about this. I hear you talking about this. And then
you have to know what you're looking at, like, and just any random person look at stock.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and for me, again, I used to really be obsessed with like celebrity gossip and finding like favorite musicians. And so, it's like a lot of it's like kind of common sense. And I think also as well, this like, so many people are into this and so many people are interested in, okay, why? And just starting to learn for yourself. And so exactly, I feel like, okay, maybe there is something, maybe video games could be more popular in the future. And maybe this will be worth more. And yeah, just sort of, and then learning more and more how actually your maybe can actually be backed up by evidence, proof, and then also projections, math, like, numbers. I mean, there's so much kind of math behind it.
How would a company prevent themselves being short stocked?
Oh, exactly. I don't think
a way to prevent that.
I don't think there's any way from being short sold. I don't think there's any way at all right now. And I think that's also why you have to think about, all of the internet right now, is undergoing like a filtration system, right? And so even some of the most, and we've all seen, I don't know if you've seen Black Mirror, right? We've all seen that episode where like the guy is screaming about how wrong everything is, and then they just give him a TV show to talk about it. You know what I mean? And nothing changes. They just let him have an hour on air once a week to talk about it. So at the same time, you have to think, okay, why are these people getting all these hours on air? Like, why is this something that's still existing, not being suppressed more, kind of coming more and more? And I want to think it's because there's a lot of people who know more than I know, and they're really, really, really excited. And I think we've seen evidence of this. We've seen even like, I don't know, Jon Stewart and someone say like, this is so crazy. Like we've grown up with decades and decades of people being afraid of banks and afraid of, financial institutions. However, look at these apes, that's what they call it. Like, look at these apes. They're coming in and they're not scared. And so I think, it's like that analogy of like a bunch of fish that like are about to eat a shark.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's kind of what's going on here is this, is this intelligence. And honestly, it's like what we were taught isn't matching up to reality. And so we're like, hey, what's going on here? What's going on here? What's going on here? Like there's a guy that's tweeted at like the SEC or something like that, just asking a question a day for over 3 years. And like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And so I think, it's like They're like, ah,
So if you were to do a short
oh,
stock.
so anyone, so anyone can do that. So anyone can short out this company. And now all these CEOs are actually coming onto these platforms on YouTube saying like, yeah, we've had this happen. Like, I've had so many like people hate to IPO because their companies then so quickly get attacked or like, like taken advantage of. And so I think as well, that's what I'm saying. I think there's a reason that like we're getting this attention is because there's a lot of people in power that are so excited that we're like, look at do you guys see what's going on here? And so I think there's a lot of people backing us up in a lot of these companies. So I think again, this can turn around the commerce of I'm like, this will turn around the commerce of America. I mean, I think it turn around business. I think it'll turn around the quality of life. Like, I really think this is so much. It's like literally like going to empower the people, empower the businesses, like slap common sense back into all of this,
So what do you think the timeline for that's happening is? Like within 5 years, 10 years?
What needs to happen is this, like the market needs to be true to reality. And asking of that, I mean, the whole system might collapse. So like it's like the game's so broken that it's like, what do we do? Like you kind of need to start over. You know what I mean? It's like a chess game, and now we're like off the board and we're playing on a different, we were just looking at outside chess. It's like they're on a different street in the water, underwater right now. So how do you do that? Like, how do you just casually put it back on the board? Um, yeah. So it's really gonna be a lot. I'm like, sorry, I got distracted.
No, yeah, but then like, but how do you do that? Because people are probably going to try to prevent the most they can. Like, how do you do that with all these people in the power, like preventing that?
I know. I mean, I just think like enough people telling the truth and showing evidence. So here's what I think like can happen. I really think this MOAS can happen. This like huge surge of these stocks finally the reveal, because like what's going to happen? All these common people who also like are, persistent and believe in themselves and a little bit intelligent or whatever, brave, but also like some people just are suddenly going to get this huge surge of money. Then that's going to like boost the middle class. And also it will like give this powership and protection to companies. I mean, I think this could kick off at any moment. I mean, even by the time this podcast is released, a huge announcements about all of this might come out and huge reveals. And it's really any moment because of how long they've been postponing, kicking all this stuff. I don't know.
So if you yourself would like go out and what, and like you suppose you're in a short of stock, what company you think would be the most successful with that? Like what, if you would do it yourself, what company would you go after?
Go to two. I have two. Well, I have one definitely right now, but it's only because again, the people I listen to, and this isn't my idea, but also, hello, ever heard of school? Like that's where you learn formulas. That's where you learn like facts. You know what I mean? So other people ideas and textbooks like are what, you learn from and you pick what to hold on to. But one of my favorite people is called AMC Bigums. And he always talks about AMC, but also like the globe, global economy, all this different stuff. And he was saying he thinks Allegiant, which is buy now, pay later, is 100% going to go out of business, and possibly even from the start. It was never expected to do well. It kind of was just sort of put there to delay things. So Allegiant, the company, I guess buy now, pay later, more like from the math he's doing and what he's catching on to, I think that company would go. So I think that Allegiant, like again, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't own it. I'm not a professional. I think Allegiant might go out of business. And so what I would do, I don't even know how to short a stock. Again, I only am trying to do like one thing at a time here. And that's, that's what I told my financial advisor back in the past before they dropped me, one of them, because I had to pay so many taxes a few years ago. And I said, dude, like I'll learn about taxes next year. Like there's so much to do. And like, of course, if I was like rich and powerful and knowledgeable and financially more literate, I would find someone to help me with my taxes. But, one thing at a time. And so, yeah, like with them.
So how does the company find out, how do they learn their stocks been shorted? Like the financial guy says, hey, this is going on, or the stock market is doing this, or people are selling it off. Like how does the CEO find out, oh my, I'm in trouble right now?
Right. I mean, I think it's really hard to define. And then also there's a lot of risk if you say anything. Like for example, like the CEO Adam Aaron, and they could have been like, oh my God, I think you guys are overshorting our shares. But that actually like might pull up a lawsuit, which would then freeze everything. They would have to count the shares. And then actually they'd have some sort of internal settlement. And then like all the shareholders don't get anything. And so I think they're doing all this on purpose. Like it's just the way it is. And yeah, I guess that's something you need to learn more about from a professional. But I mean, the other thing, yeah, I think they like hire, consultants to come in and give bad advice. And it's that like, sell off all your valuable things. I don't know.
And so
Fire people.
So it's called Bed Bath and Beyond, right?
Yeah.
How do they play in all this? They got shortage too also, or?
Exactly. So from what I understand, like Bed Bath and Beyond might be like the straw that breaks the camel's back of the entire financial system. Not to be dramatic. But I think Bed Bath and Beyond, like as a company, was a surefire set to go out of business for a lot of people. And instead, this guy, Ryan Cohen, was able to save it.
Was he like the CEO over there or something? Like, what
Well,
do you have to do with the company?
he first, nothing at all. He wanted to buy Bye Bye Baby. And then he wrote a letter to the board saying, I think Bye Bye Baby is really, really, really valuable. I think it's actually like a $40 billion
I guess
business.
that's like a kind of baby clothing business.
Yeah, yeah. I'd never even heard of it. And I was a kid. I was like, what the heck? Like, I'd hardly even heard of it. And he basically wrote them a letter saying, let me buy Bye Bye Baby off of you. And they said no. And then they went out of business and they went bankrupt. And at the time, Ryan Cohen had bought in, so he'd be taken more seriously. The point is like that. Okay, have you ever heard of like fiduciary duty? They didn't follow their fiduciary duty, right? This guy comes in and says, we want to buy Bye Baby Baby. And then instead and then they say no. And so they like, it's like all this kind of stuff is like legal proof that they were making bad choices on purpose because they were purposely trying to bankrupt the company. Even when someone coming in offering $40 million says, and then the other fun thing about this, so, Ryan Cohen did that exact same thing. He wrote a letter to the board of GameStop and he said that GameStop is the destination for gamers. And then he went through and totally saved GameStop. And he wrote exact same letter saying, Bye Bye Baby is a destination for babies. And so it seems like what he's done now is he's gone in and he's saving, and he's going to go buy Bye Bye Baby. And then on top of that, it's going to it's completely throwing off other plans and really might bankrupt multiple mega banks.
So do you happen to know Ryan's like background? Is it finance or is it CEO before? Like what his background was?
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, so he, I guess like actually one of his family friends even came onto the show called the PP Show, one of his like lifelong friends. So what I've learned about him is like when he was growing up, he was always into business. And then he had a dad who was like super into business and mentored him a lot. And then even when he was like 18, he learned like you could do business like from Costa Rica and save some money. And so like within like a day or two, he and his friends moved to Costa Rica and like moved their business there to make more money. And then when he was older, he started that company Chewy. And his main focus was like customer delight and kind of competing against Amazon actually. Um, and so then Chewy was a huge success. They're viral because like they always would send like when your pet would die, they would send flowers, they would send refunds. They just like were viral and famous for having this like spectacular customer service, which actually, if you stop and think about it, almost nowhere has true customer service as their priority. And so in some ways, I think that's an advantage to him as well, is he wants to take that customer service and he screams it from mountaintops everywhere he goes. He's bringing it to GameStop. And now, as he said 1,000 times, he wants to build an Amazon competitor. And so I think he's going to bring that customer service to an Amazon competitor, which will wipe Amazon. I'd pay $5 more for great customer service. You know what I mean? And so that's really what it seems like is he's working with Bed Bath and Beyond. And then even Overstock is involved in this. And the Overstock CEO is famous for getting the short squeezes, like all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of things he talks about, and a lot of big people don't like the former CEO of Overstock. And now he's all tied into this. It's so many people are tied into this that have a history of catching short sellers and screwing the system. So anyway, and the other thing about Ryan Cohen and his history is that his dad taught him so much, and his dad recently passed away, and his dad's name was Teddy. And now this new company he's making is called Teddy. These new books he's writing are dedicated to his dad. And so just like, a lot of this is putting trust into someone I've never met, Ryan Cohen, and other people, and also using my logic. But it's like, who in the world, with already showing a heart of gold, writing all these books to your dad that has died, is gonna what I mean? That's a pretty good bet. They're going to try their best to make this great. And it's with their whole heart. Like, they're not going to screw over their name of their dad, making sure like there's a lot of things that line up that show he's like in this for the right reasons. He wants to help the people. And he's dedicating so much this to his dad. You're like, come on, that's another like stamp of like sweetness that you can kind of trust that, trust/hope that he really is providing this amazing opportunity for people like you and me really to make millions and change the whole
Yeah.
financial.
Having said, there's always a chance these people are scamming us, right?
Totally.
So like, how do you like you personally? How do you like try to like feed through the people? Like, is it real, not real? So I trust them, not trust them. Like, in a day, I mean, they're all trying to make money, right?
Right. But then at the same time, he's not even taking a paycheck right now. Like he literally hasn't taken a paycheck for a year.
I'm sure he's getting paid other ways.
But well, like he has stocks, but honestly, like at the same time, yes, but also he's already a multi-billionaire. And so I think money isn't the drive for a lot of people. Man, I'm not making money on Fall to the Vault. I want to in the future, but also like money isn't my main drive either. Like I think maybe he and I think similar in the sense that if he can leave behind like a great legacy where when people think of his name, they're like, wow, like I'm so glad that person existed. Like, and they create like a better world. like leave it better than they found it. I think that's kind of, my goal too.
So how much do you know about the country El Salvador like switching to Bitcoin for the money?
Oh, I don't hardly know anything at
Okay.
all about it. I feel like I've heard it's like going well for them, but I don't
Yeah, so I
know.
heard too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
that's a big move.
yeah. But then again, El Salvador has like maybe 4 or 5 million people. It's not like a big country, but
Yeah.
still, yeah, I think it's a good experiment.
Yeah.
It seems like it's going well.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it's calculated. At the same time, too, I don't know enough about that. And so it's easy for me to go like, whoa, that was risky. But I am not a big Bitcoin expert, And so people look at me and they're like, whoa, you're a nut. Like you still think like GameStop is a thing, AMC is a thing, and like I sure as hell do. And if you'll sit and like listen, I'll tell you why. But if you don't listen, I don't. I do and I don't care. But I'm sorry for you, like in a little bit. But I think El Salvador too. They're probably not stupid. So
Yeah.
there's probably a lot of thought behind it, and hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it doesn't backfire. That'd just
Yeah.
be sad.
So, from your point of view, and you're not an expert on this, but our current economy, you think we're in a recession, depression, the economy's doing good, or
Oh, I think it's like, it doesn't even matter. This is what I'm learning. It's like, all you have to do is look at the math. Like, all you have to do is look at the data and the math. It doesn't matter what I think. I know for a fact, like, we are like falling and crashing into depression. I mean, like, you've seen like those, like, it's like, you've seen even the videos, like, where it shows like someone's Amazon shopping list, the exact same was 100, now it's 400. And then on top of that, like you look at the math, you look at the national debt going up, you look at the spending. I mean, you even look at the reasonings. Like, so there's something I wrote about the other day, and it's this guy, AMC Bigums, posted about this fund that they'd come up with, that it was like to pay back, like, let's say everything went bankrupt, all the banks would put together this fund, and all the banks would put money into this fund, money into this fund, money into this fund, money into this fund. So in case a bank went bankrupt, it was this self-sufficient fund, and banks would make this fund. And then if a bank went bankrupt, the bank would pull from the bank fund, and like the kind of this brotherhood of giving each other lifeboats, like this bank community. They wrote into the details, by the way, if this fund is ever zero, we can take from the national treasury. Guess what the account's been ever since it was started? Zero. So the whole time, all of these banks, it turns out, for the past like 20 or 30 years, made this fake account and then hooked up this like little thing. And now for the past 30 years, all these mega banks keep getting bailed out. It's something like $31 trillion, where like, all these banks like Bank of America, Chase, like, actually, according to their business model, should have gone bankrupt 30 years ago. Instead, they're taking trillions and trillions of dollars from our government and our money.
So remember back in 2008, or you might be too young for this. 2008 had like the Great Recession, and all these like big time equity firms and banks went out of business, and they were deemed too big to fail, right?
Exactly. And so I think they just got bailed out. Like, from what I'm understanding, what's coming, like, is they say it's like 2008 on crack, because 2008 was never taken care of. It was just can kicked.
Yeah.
However, I'm like on a really optimistic person, in the sense that I think Americans are smart. Clearly, we have like really, 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 really smart people in our country. So I could see a way also, if we somehow, get our shit together and think, we could put the right people into place, that we could turn this situation to our advantage, and ideally like a global advantage where we don't bring everyone down. But at the same time, the way that we're going right now, it's still not looking good. I don't know if you've seen that interview of the guy that's leading our head of like the U.S. economy right now, and he can't even describe what is debt.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like,
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were in power in 2008, you would have let all those banks fail.
Yeah, and that's what this guy AMC Bigums was saying too. Like, I don't mean to like keep it, but it's so nice having people explain things to you. And I was cracking up the other day, because all college I was drunk and crazy and partying, and now I've become like this adult, and I'm like, no social life. I love studying. I like love my teachers. So I feel like AMC Bigums is one of my teachers. And oh wait, remind me your question you just asked me, because I got too distracted with that.
If you were in power back 2008, you would let all the banks fail.
So that's what he was saying. Is he said, like, we have this feeling, like we have this sort of like citizen feeling, like avoid depression. But actually that kind of mostly just apparently benefits like, the financial system. And actually depression really wouldn't be that bad at all. And it might really be helpful in kind of getting everything back together.
Yeah, one thing, you have all these people that talk about free market capitalism, right? But then they switch to socialism if the corporation fails.
Yeah. What is this, like corporate governance? I think they were saying like, that's what we're living in now.
Yeah.
Where like, it's like that freaking book or whatever, where it's like year of depends, year of freeze.
Do you think there's such thing as a company being too big to fail? Like Boeing, they're having all these trouble with Boeing right now. Do you think Boeing's like people, doors falling off? Do you think it's coming like Boeing's too big to fail?
I think to fail is like members only club. I don't think it means anything except that you have enough friends, enough lobbies, enough connections that you're getting money.
So the companies that do well on the market, they should fail.
Yeah, exactly. The fundamentals gotten thrown out the window. That's why when AMC and GameStop are literally building these badass, amazing companies and their price isn't being affected, we're like, what the heck? Like fundamental. Yeah, it's look at their businesses. Like, what are they doing? And I think, yeah, I think on purpose, that's where you can look and see, like, hey, which consultants were they using? And a lot of these use the exact same consultants. They all were going to business. And you're like, wait a second, were those consultants actually in disguise? And so Boeing, it seems to be a GameStop situation. Yeah. And I think almost everything on the planet is a GameStop situation.
So
not to be dramatic, but
so do you think the U.S. economy runs the world economy, or the world economy runs the U.S. economy? Like the U.S.
I'm like, he's got the whole world. I don't know. You know what I mean? I think I think it's like a little bit of a
the U.S. Federal Bank, the World Bank, all these organizations across the world.
Right. I mean, at the moment, right, the U.S. Reserve is like the #1 currency, but also at the same time, right now, we're in a little bit of trouble. But again, God, I don't know.
And with the dollar, I know used to be like, I'll make this up, but you know, a dollar used to be worth 70 cents. Now it's like 61 cents. It keeps getting degraded, you know.
Yeah.
We keep on printing money and
yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're number one. We're not number one as big of a gap as we were before.
I know. And it's just like kind of like, no, like everyone's like sad, like, what? No, what do we do? You know, like, what do we do? What do we do? But just keep educating yourself. And
what do you think is like the most important financial position in the United States? Like chairman of the board of the Federal Reserve, Secretary of Treasury, some kind of.
Oh my God, I need to know enough about what each of them do. But I just like, I guess like all I can say to that is like, hey, you know, like I'm pretty sure like the Fed is a private company.
People don't know that, right? People think it's because it's Federal Reserve, the federal government.
Yeah, and I feel like,
but nothing before
you're like taught it's like they're hand in hand. And so again, and I'm like, what am I even saying? Like, I even halfway understand what I'm saying, and I think that's kind of like the fun of all of this. Like I said, like when I went to China, I started learning Chinese, and I'm like, oh, cool. And so as I'm learning this financial stuff, it's like all making sense, and at the same time, I'm learning, and I'm gonna make money off of it, and you know, smarter. It's like 1,000 benefits in one, but also like ignorance is bliss. You know, it's that balance of like ignorance is bliss, knowledge is power, and so like that's why I'm trying to kind of.
And tell me again, how long were you in China?
4 years.
And can you talk about how maybe the Chinese government, Chinese people teach their people about financial literacy versus how we teach our people about financial literacy over here?
I mean, like I just know that they spend $7 for every $1 that we spend on kids on education. So, you know, like that's, I just like, I'm like, and I mean, I don't know. I think finance, it's like, you know, it's so hard to say. I think conditions are very different there. And that like, and just from my experience, maybe the houses are smaller, your personal space is smaller, you don't have as much you need or want to buy in a sense. It's, you know, it's all different. I don't know. It's you know, at the same time too, I don't know that there's as many, I don't want to say safe, but I do investments in China. Like, for example, I know if you buy an apartment, like 60 years later, you don't own it anymore. And so I know that you have to be very thrifty with your money and your investments in China. And so it's kind of like, and also in China, it's very family based. Like it's like every family for themselves. And so you teach your kids like what you want them to learn. And so, yeah, I think money is definitely talked about more there.
Okay. And what's this? I want to copy RC. That's something you want to look at, or?
Oh, sure. I mean, well, yeah. So, you know, Ryan Cohen, he said like, I put my money where my mouth is, you know? And I think I wanted to do the same. I used to have like all sorts of investments, you know, growing up, I would put them into like, you know, $1,000 into this like large cap mutual fund, into this ETF. And then the more I started learning about investments, I was like, wait a second, I don't agree with Microsoft all the time. I don't agree with, you know, all these different companies. I don't want my money in there. Like I want my money where my mouth is, and I want to put my money where my heart is. And so I realized I'm probably going to like be really hyped about life if after, you know, he tweeted that and people would talk about it, if I do the same. And so I really like made that big move and I sold everything and I put it all into just only stuff that I can stand behind, because I don't want to be like a hypocrite, you know, like I just kind of.
So you do like more like values-based investing?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we're learning that money can be a tool, especially in kind of this fight against Wall Street. So I want to play.
Let me ask you this: like, suppose there's something you like, you're 100% for, right? Obviously, invest in that. But I suppose it's something like, you know, like you're like, we'll say you agree with the 70%, but it's your 30%. Would you still invest in it? Like, what's your cutoff point, right? It's hard to agree with something 100% all the time, right?
I mean, these two things I'm basically 100% about. And so that's it. Exactly. It's like, again, you said like, how does anyone have the time to learn about this stuff? Well, just pick one or two things to learn, you know? And so I think that's why I just can focus. Like if I can find more businesses that I think look like great.
So you only invest in stuff that you 100% agree with?
Yeah. And like right now it's literally these two.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I have like just a couple things I'm invested in right now, even in like my whole life. And as far as stocks, it's actually well, it's four,
Okay.
and they're all related to the
What are
stock.
some products or industries you would never invest in because it doesn't match your values?
Um, I'm like vintage cars, maybe. I don't know. Like I don't know. And then I guess like I like it's so hard to say. Like I think everyone's different, but I definitely think like luxury items um have their place every now and then because in some places you stand out if you don't look nice. But in general, I'm not really like a luxury item person too much, only because I I think they actually can be more. They add more stress than you need.
And so, what's this? The CAT system. What is that?
Okay, so this is kind of cool. So actually, this is something.
So, what does CAT stand for?
Oh God, computer automated transactions.
Okay.
And it's kind of like this is really, really, really like this CAD system is super cool. So basically, everyone's screaming, you know, like the stock market has all this corruption, the stock market, da, da, da. So the CAD system now is a tracker, and it basically follows where every single share is going. And it turns
And
out,
this is like a new technology.
yeah, it turns out for the whole entire time of the stock market, no shares were tracked.
What? How's that
This
possible?
just got implemented like 2, 3 weeks ago, and it's because everyone's been going like what's going on? And now everyone's tracking everything, but no one's sort of implementing any rules yet. Now they just can see the crime, but they're not actually following up with it quite yet. But at least that's what I'm saying. At least finally people are starting to learn the language, learn the rules, go, what the heck? That's not even there. And then get these things implemented. And then it's funny too, because Roaring Kitty, you know, that guy who was into GameStop and one of the movies about, he always says, like, I'm not a dead cat. And so it's funny, like, it's like so many things you're like, did he know about the cat system? Like, is he like so many of these things are connected inside.
And it's like, who runs this CAT system? Like, is there a Wall Street system? Some
Yeah,
random
so
computer
it's like,
company?
you know, like the like, you know, the police of Wall Street or whatever, you know,
Okay,
the, you know, whatever. Yeah.
man. And like, who runs it? Like, how do they make sure it's like not being like evil and
I mean,
unethical? Like,
exactly. They're watching it and they're watching it be evil and unethical and not doing anything about it. But at least now we're like, look.
there's a track
And
record
so
now.
now there's little by little by little by little by little. There's the pressure on, there's the eyes on, you know, it's eventually what voting season or whatever. And so people need to kind of start. But for so long they've been like, you know, not looking, turning the
Yeah.
other turn. And so now enough people are talking, it's becoming, you know,
Have
common.
you? I know you just came from New York City. Have you ever like yourself personally went to Wall Street and observed it and see how it works or anything? Like actually seen them on the floor, like doing what do they do?
Well, no, I almost got invited to go to the stock market though and ring the
Yeah.
bell. And I was gonna wear a like t-shirt hinting at all this stuff, but right at the last minute we got invited. But no, I think a lot of it's done online. I don't know. I'm cracking up too. And they have like these drone videos of like people that like illegally use drones and spied on these companies because they were like up all night and these were happening, like making people stay late overtime.
Yeah.
And they were all like, you know, snorting
Yeah,
drugs
you hear
and
the stories.
stuff.
Like,
So
you hear
you're
some
like,
of the warm up people like they fucking work 20 hours a day, sniffing
yeah,
cocaine, like
exactly.
on.
So I don't know. I'm like, I guess you'd see that. Like you just would see people like, you know, but again, and I think a lot of this is like that guy was saying, you know, it's like that, like you grow up and you're following your college instructions and you want to believe it. And, you know, and I think it's like, you know, like 90%, I think even like 90% of like, okay, I was going to say, I think like 90% of the world is like good, just in like bad leadership and they're just doing their best in a bad system. But at the same time, like you said, if you're going to put your money into something, how much do you need to agree with it? Uh, and you know, I just think it's always great and powerful if, you know, more and more people that can be a little bit selfless and take a step away and, you know,
Yeah.
stand up for
And the opposite,
humanity.
opposite argument, like pose like you're a moral person, right? But you're kind of doing bad on money, and
Mm-hmm.
someone says, "Hey, I know you don't agree with like
Blah, blah, blah.
blah blah,
Dude.
but if you invest this money, you make so much money, and then you can do the stuff with the money, right?"
Oh, you know, exactly. Like use this to get
Like
to
how,
that. It's like step
yeah,
one to
yeah,
step two.
like how morally are you, right? Like what's your
I mean,
breaking point?
exactly, you know, and I mean, and then that's just for everyone to see. And like, I saw this like fantastic play that my friend was in. She's like this traveling actress, and her name's Awesta, and it was called Selling Kabul, and it's about like Afghanistan. And there's like the families making money by making the army uniforms, and they're like, woohoo, because now we can buy this TV. But at the same time, it's the army that they hate.
Yeah,
You know, and so it's this kind of like exactly, and that's where I realized that's where I want to put my money where my mouth is. I'm like, I'm not going to be funneling this broken system, and I actually want to work against it, and that's why I put my money in there to be a keg or whatever, a peg in the system, and I think I think it's working. Enough people are seeing that if we can peg the system and or whatever the heck that
so
analogy
next, what's
is.
this
Comment right in the
what's this
comments.
MOASS?
MOAS, mother of all short squeezes. I mean, how freaking good of a name is that
Yeah,
too for all of this? MOAS is literally coming. Because again, just think about it. It's like the water's building up on the dam, and it's been people buying and buying and buying and buying and buying and buying and buying for years and learning more and more and more, knowing that at some point, like if you look at the charts, like look at the stock right now, it's like they're like AMC is like $3. And if it was like actually like I think it should be up at like 30 or even 80 or like I think like it will 20 like easy in a second. So the point is MOAS is going to be this point when everything breaks and the prices will shoot up probably on quite a couple stocks, but no doubt if MOAS happens, it would be with GameStop and AMC. And the point is the prices are just completely going to turn loose. The banks are going to have to use all of their money they have because they put these short bets that these companies would go out of business. And now they need to buy back as many bets as they placed at any price at all. So they bet 100 shares and let's say they had those shares, they bought at $4 and they thought they'd buy them back at $2. Now they need to buy them back, even if they're at 400, 4,000, 40,000.
So there's no limit.
There's no limit to the risk they've set themselves up to. And that's what I realized. It's called infinite risk. And it's monopoly. It's monopoly. They have to sell everything to buy back those shares at any value. And that's why I'm saying these banks, they have so much money that, yeah, that's why we're saying we own the price. That GameStop share could be worth 40,000. And if they still need to buy 10 more, they need to buy 10 at 40, but so does everybody else. So it's going to go 40, 60, 50. Like and then they have bet everything. And the thing is, they've rigged the system. No one knew. But they have for years, they've always been exposed to this risk. It just was so secretly hidden, the Achilles heel. And so now COVID dorky gamers realized, holy crap, that's their Achilles heel. We've won. And now they're kicking a kick. But yeah, any price at all, they have to buy back or until their company goes out of business. And these are banks we're talking about that have set themselves up in this position. And so one, it would be because they have to buy back these bets they took. And then two, these companies, one, they bet the companies would go out of business. And so there's kind of years of IOUs. And then also the companies are amazing now. And so also just as a business, of course, its value is going to increase. But then on top of that, so yeah, MOAS.
So I know a few years ago, Silicon Valley Bank out of Silicon Valley went out of business, right? And all these founders lost all their money, right? So
they all got bailed back. No, then they all got their money back.
Yeah. But when a bank goes out of, like, if it's supposed to, a bank goes out of business, all the people lose their money, unfortunately, right? Like the money just kind of disappears.
It all depends. I'm pretty sure that Silicon, all of those companies, I think I heard somewhere they all got their money back. So yay, even though all that like fraud happened and risky betting, and even though they like made all these mistakes and lost all this money for the people, the tax money reimbursed everybody because like, oh, these companies are really important and they're, too important to fail. But it's because of and that's apparently what it is. It's because that fund with that, like, no. It's that zero balance fund. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just like, it's all completely rigged.
Do you have to be 18 to buy stocks?
So yeah.
Do you?
Okay. But you can get custodial. So like I have a student who I've been teaching him about buying stocks, and 0% do I want him. I mean, of course I do for the sake of like, because I love this kid and I want to see him have a great life. Like I'm not sitting there saying like, buy GameStop, buy AMC. So he did ask me, what are your favorites? I have these two. He actually was thinking about buying Apple and Disney and then like Taiwan, like, computer chips or something. And so then so for example, Kelly, how do you teach kids about buying stocks? How do you teach them too? Oh, good question. So we looked into, I said, well, let's think about some things. Is the CEO selling stocks? And then we looked and recently the Disney CEO was. And so then we said like, like, do you think, and I said to him, do you think Disney will be worth more in the future? And he was like, yeah. I was like, well, do you think right now they're doing well? Or do you think maybe they're struggling a bit? And he was like, oh, if their CEO selling, probably they're struggling. I said, exactly. So that's kind of this idea is you try to fortune tell and you guess which way it's going to go. And then you could buy now or you could wait. And so, yeah, we just kind of, and then there was another one we were looking at, Nintendo. And we realized the price of Nintendo has basically been the same its entire life. And yet, like we just looked at a number of factors why actually now is just as good of a time as any. If you think that's a good company, go for it. So it's just like, it's really fun, and he's only 9, but that's the like so cool stuff about all of this is like, it's so fun to think about. It's fun to predict. It's fun to see if you were right. Like, and it's just kind of common sense. Like, and then the more you learn it, of like, will this business succeed?
How much risk should people take with the stock market? Like, should somebody like invest 30% of their income in the stock market, 10%, or just depends on the situation?
It depends on your situation totally. And at the same time, I think for me though, I was like, I think these opportunities are amazing. And I really want to go balls to the walls. Like, I want to see what I can do in this lifetime now that I'm kind of understanding this like 3rd generation fallacy that like by the 3rd generation, everyone loses money. And like after living in China, seeing how hard everyone's working and stuff like that, I was like, wait a minute, let me turn it up. And so, yeah, I just think, but again, I mean, the stock market can make you so much money. It really can make you money. And so, like learning about it and try, but definitely not anything that's going to stress you out. Nothing that's going to stress you out.
Do you think there's such a thing as having too much money?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. And I think that's a huge problem we have right now is like, and I even think I think possibly even you and I, we could say we have too much money just because so many times when people have money, they don't know what to do with it, right? Like, they go shopping, you go buy a luxury bag, you go like, whatever. It's like I think as a society, we don't have this much direction on how to focus and use our resources to really be long-term effective and helpful for our community and for everybody.
So are you like positive or negative about the future of financial stuff?
Extremely positive.
Okay.
I think so. I think so. And
But why are you positive after you've seen all this negative stuff, so to speak?
because it can only go up from here, I hope.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I just think if all this stuff is becoming common knowledge, and I think there's a lot of things in the world, like I said, I think this decade is going to be defined by the whistleblowers because I think there's a lot of industries where people are getting pissed off and sick of what they're seeing, whether it's healthcare, whether, what the education, whatever. And I think, yeah, I think it's really exciting. Like, there's no way people can know all this stuff and not demand change. And then, of course, change might lead to the better.
So what's this right here?
So this is like kind of a cool website. This is Stonko Tracker, like someone made it. Has GameStop, AMC, and it used to have Bed Bath & Beyond before Bed Bath & Beyond disappeared. And it shows here 26.78%. That means DRS. And so what you can do is you could remove stocks from being able to be traded, which is like if there's no stocks available, you can't trade them. Like, no more crime can happen because there's none available. And actually in the past, Overstock bottled their shares and then they were still trading and they went, what happened? And then suddenly it actually squeezed. So sorry, everyone's ears. Because they got caught trading shares that didn't exist. And so anyway, this is an idea. Like, again, like this whole MOAS thing, this whole proving ourselves right. Like, there's lots of different ways this could kick off. One way would be if we're able to DRS, which is own the entire float, all the shares available if individuals own them and take them no longer for sale. And so far, 26.78% of all shares of GameStop available are locked away. And so if you get that up to 100, but it's just kind of a fun.
And who does this? Like
just some guy made it. Just some guy made it. And look, they even have dark mode.
Yeah.
It's a tits up tracker. I don't know, but yeah, stonk time. I mean, it's just like so many people love this. It's like it reminds me of like this reminds me of my childhood and watching my parents love sports. And like that thrill of like a sports team and they're playing and let's see who's gonna win and how is that player doing and what's the score. I mean, this is that exact same thing, like game time, 40 hours, and it's like it's fun, it's community. It's like, yeah.
So let's say like all this stuff we're talking about, right? Let's say you took like 100 average Americans and gave them some kind of test on all this stuff, right? Like, of course, and they're going to grade be 0 to 100, right? What do you think your grade would be compared to like 100 average Americans? Like, you think you're like 75, 80% knowledge of this, 95%
on
all this stuff
on all financial literacy on GameStop stuff?
No, yeah, all this sports stock stuff, all this stuff we're talking about.
Oh,
I don't know if you think, what grade do you
it's funny. It's funny because like I watch all these YouTubers, right? And a lot of the AMC professionals don't. There's so many AMC like obsessed people that are like Bed Bath & Beyond. You guys lost out. But then there's so many Bed Bath & Beyond people who are like AMC. You guys are screwed. So actually, it's fun being an audience member because I really have this great perspective of like all of these. Anyway, I would say I have a pretty good awareness of what's going on. Like 75.
75, okay. And so how do you get yourself smarter? Like, just keep on doing research and studying and
yeah, just like keep learning. And again, like, I mean, again, it's just like your curiosity. And I think I told you before, I've deleted all my social media except for LinkedIn. And then even when I browse stuff, I purposely just look into these couple topics because it's just like two birds, one stone. You're entertaining yourself and you're learning. And for me, it's so interesting. And I really like, I know it can make money for me. And then I have huge dreams of like what I want to do in my life. I want to, make TV shows and make Wall to the Vault and, make great things. And there's no way I can do it if I don't have money. And I'm only getting older. So let's go. Yeah.
So is there maybe like a YouTube Academy with all this stuff on it, like one central location to learn all this stuff, or
right?
Or you have to actually go to each one of these people and
follow you have to go to each one of these people, and you have to know too. And there kind of were, but again, they keep getting shut down. Like there was like a great collection on Reddit, like the PP show, and then it like that was shut down, and now they talk about it. So I mean, I like to think my LinkedIn, like I'm really starting to turn my LinkedIn into like a newspaper of all this kind of stuff because I really am. I know exactly who to listen to about the different things. Like I've really watched a lot of videos, and I know who's kind of proven themselves. Who's like, I don't know, but yeah, like you just. But again, I would just like pick one and just start kind of learning. And then, if someone's, yeah, like just see, and it's absolutely fascinating and
I was gonna tell you that
fun.
too. Like, you know how you do all those posts all the time?
Hmm.
Have you thought about doing like a LinkedIn newsletter?
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe, but I kind of like just like impulsive and leave it, like the
You did that
LinkedIn.
on
But maybe you're
newsletter
right.
too, yeah.
Maybe that's a good point.
Yeah.
But
That's something to think about.
yeah, yeah.
No one thing that like one of my pet peeves is the fact you have these like for example, Nancy Pelosi, her husband picks stocks at a better rate than Warren Buffett. They're
Right.
like, are you kidding me right now?
Right. And
And
then
that's obviously like insider training, but
they're like saying that we're the reason, like
yeah,
retail is the reason. And so that's another thing is that someone said recently, like meme stocks. It's like this like kind of word they came up with so that then nobody questions what's going on with these stocks. They go, oh, that's just the meme stocks. That's just the meme stocks. And everyone's like, well, and someone said like that's kind of propaganda because like, well, if you just say, hey, that's meme stocks, like, okay, cool. But what if you stop calling, what if you say, hey, that's a stock of a company that's actually doing well? Why is it acting like this? And yeah, so a lot of it's just like, you know,
but this seems so illegal, right? It's
yeah, that's
like how does random
exactly.
dude has no knowledge of the stock market picking stocks better than Warren Buffett, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, exactly. And I think like that's kind of the frustrating thing too is I started really talking to people and questioning and talking to financial experts and stuff, and then they just like wouldn't listen to me or wouldn't talk to me straight or would say I'm crazy. And so then I'm like, okay, and exactly Nancy Pelosi and that they all
Yeah.
say we're doing this,
And
but
then you have all these financial advisors like, okay, they're fine, some are certified, but like there's some dude, you're like random dude off the street, like how you gonna advise me on stuff, right?
right. And yeah, like, and it's kind of yeah, exactly. It's
Like
like
basically just repeating what I just read off the internet. You're not telling me nothing different.
yeah, and I've been to like all those meetings. I've been to like conferences before with financial advisors and stuff, and like, it is. It's everything's a job, and it's really risky. It's really risky to say your own opinion. And definitely if you're a financial advisor from an institution, you're getting paid based off of, whatever you
Yeah.
based off of their ones, not your own.
So talk
That's,
about some of your dreams,
yeah.
like what your fantasies, big dream visions, so to speak.
Yeah, so my dreams definitely like just leave behind great content. I'm like very realistic, I'm like I'm gonna die. And so what am I leaving behind, I'm gonna die eventually. And so I want to make like really great kids content, helpful content, like a couple reality TV shows, like kind of like fun, family-friendly reality TV shows I want to make. I want to make this great TV show. I want to, try to just be brave, be myself, and teach people what I'm learning and just make great content to leave behind that,
So talk more about your
education.
reality TV shows you want to do.
My real TV.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, this is something else. Like I could find time for this and get started now. But I like someone might steal my idea, but it's okay. We can do a different version of it. I can always think of a different version. And I don't know if I said it before. It's like this is actually one of the first ideas I ever had when I said to myself, what would I do if I had $1 million? Like I said that to my net when I made my Netflix invention. I was like, if I made $1 million, what would I do? And I came up with this idea to make a show that would be kind of like Project Runway. In the sense you have like a bunch of contestants, like qualified contestants, have this project to create each episode, and they'll get voted out at the end. However, the qualified contestants are going to be America's greatest teachers and their project is a school project and they need to actually get kids on board to build a project and so it'll be this like kind of show where they're like today you're doing a science experiment and then we watch the teachers plan the project, go to the school, bring the project to the school, or maybe it's a summer camp thing or you have like acting kids or whatever, and then the kids talk, build the project, they talk about how was the teacher, was she mean, was she nice, was she fun, and then afterward we look at how did the project turn out and talk, and then like each week and I think I think it can be family friendly. Everyone's been to school or chooses to. I mean, everyone has an opinion about school. And then it will also shine light. Like I said, I want to glamorize education. So it can kind of shine light on the difficulties of being a teacher, the fun things you could try as a teacher, how shitty kids are sometimes, or how awesome and funny they are. Like I think something like that kind of show where it shines light on education, teachers, and it's this family friendly, those kinds of things.
So what is your take on the education system now? Is it like good thing, bad thing? Should everyone like go to private school? Should everyone homeschooled? Like
I
it's
mean, it's a
broken.
disaster. It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster right now, the education system. I would like to think that at least in some ways kids are getting street smart, and they're learning to think for themselves. I'm sure every angsty teenager is like, screw college. And then I was working as a substitute teacher when I first moved back to Seattle in some of the best charter schools. And the teachers who were getting promotions were literally having kids copy worksheets off projectors. Like the top performing teachers were teaching kids to cheat and telling the kids, here's the answers. go take your test for the 9th time and please pass. And so you're like, what? And so every kid, of course, they're not trying because any kid with a mind goes, what's going on here? Your phone is 100 times more entertaining. I mean, I think it's all a disaster. And so, again, that's why I don't want my businesses really to be tied to schools. I don't think. I mean, maybe they will, but I think if we can be more of like an out of school, it's on TV, like a fun kind of, because I just think at the moment school is a total disaster, and I don't think anyone's prioritizing it. And I'm like, ah. So where the heck do you begin? But I'm also someone who I moved a million times, um, growing up, and I always was just learning through games and songs and TV. And so I think now I've said this before, we're at like a low in American media of content that is like helpful for the world or educational. And so I think that's why I want to create content also that is educating people and helping.
So do you think the education system can be salvaged and like restarted, like improved, or is it like this is
100%.
okay?
What like once you know you're an adult hole, quit digging, right? And I think like all this, our national debt could be solved, our economy could be solved, like everything could be solved. We just need proper leaders and a plan. And so it's really easy to get depressed. I said like the other day, I was like, no wonder why people become monks. Because like the more you learn, the more you just are like, oh my God, I need to sit on a mountain and breathe because that's about all I could do because there's so much like horrible and craziness on earth. But
Do you think the
at the same time,
do you
it's
think the
good to be
part of the
optimistic.
problem all that is the fact that as America we're so tunnel vision, like we're thinking like the next day, next month. We don't as Americans
Mhm.
we don't tend to think like 2, 3, 5 years. So
I love
we
that.
think like the next quarterly report, the next performance review. We don't think like long term
I love that you said
consequences.
that. And I think like maybe I'm somebody who just like grew up in my own bubble where I'm such a long-term thinker. I'm like insanely long-term thinker. And so I think I just never was like so aware of how short-term our world is. And yeah, I think it's a huge problem. And that's also why I like Walter the Vault is like Walter stands for we are long-term thinkers, WALT. And that's like from the start, I was like family with them. Like, oh, I read that. Don't say your family, but I really love them because I'm such a long-term thinker. And I think it's like, it's the answer to everything. So, I know I'm like, what are you writing?
We are
Long.
long term
We
thinkers.
are long-term
Yeah,
thinkers.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what's your definition of generational wealth?
Okay. Generational wealth. That's like it's like kind of like, like a thing people like to say. Like it's kind of like a trending you know, phrase lately. I don't know. Have you heard people say generational? Yeah, it's kind of like trending, like because especially like when the stocks were going crazy a few years ago, generation. And I would say, well, first of all, again, let's revisit that third generation fallacy. It's that idea that like if you make money, by the time your kids have money, they lose it all. And so I guess generational wealth would be handing on to your future family money that gives them that power to, yeah, I mean, to keep growing. I don't know. It's like building your legacy, like passing on money and that knowledge, because, yeah, like the knowledge, money for your family in the future.
So what are some lessons you learned through your life that you want to make sure your kid learns like the easier kind of way that makes any sense?
Uh, hmm. Okay. Let's summarize that real quick. I'm like, I don't know. I guess I don't know. The first thing that popped in my mind is like, trust your judgment. I think that's what I would tell myself because I'm like, dude, she'll figure it out. But me, I need to figure out how to like not over control her and trust her. And like, I think that's probably a big thing about parenthood is like watching your kids like do crazy stuff and like, ah, but like sometimes like she'll take a cookie and then take another cookie. And then you're like, ah, but then she'll only eat like one bite of that second cookie if you don't pay attention. But if you tell her no, she'll eat the whole entire second cookie just to prove a point. So, you gotta trust them, trust yourself. Yeah. And I guess the other thing is I was always taught to save, but I never was really taught like fun things to invest in. So it may be cool to, tell people all their options.
So is anything about so this subject, like what is this called like GameStop philosophy, short stock philosophy? Like what's this
I
called?
would say this is the retail investor movement. In
Okay.
some ways, the retail investor, that
So is that
individual.
like the official term
Well,
for it or something?
there's two types of investors, right? There's institutional investors and there's retail. There's household, you and me, right? So there's the institutions, which is usually what people would buy through, right? You'd go to talk to a financial advisor, you'd go to Fidelity or whatever, and you'd give them your money. The institutes buy for you. And then there's the retail, the individual. And so this is somewhat of like a retail revolution. It's where the individual is learning to think for themselves and not use these financial advisors. And now suddenly it's breaking the whole system because like, wait, what? Ah, ah, ah. And yeah. So it's like
Okay.
it is a it's like an it's like an information revolution and how
Okay.
the financial system works. And
Okay.
individuals now, I think it was set up in the past like a casino in the sense that you could never get too rich, or you're gonna get beat up out in the back if you get too rich, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I
Well,
think now,
obviously you're cheating,
yeah, and now exactly we're not cheating and we figured out how to win, and now they're like, oh, and there's too many people to beat up. Hopefully,
Here's one for you.
this doesn't help
So you're pretty
me.
you're pretty off all the stuff.
Okay, kinda.
Let's take some random banker, like let's say if we take the VP of a JP Morgan out of Seattle, right? And y'all two did a debate
Okay.
about all this stuff.
Okay.
How do you think you would do?
Oh,
You think you'd be able to hold your own, or you think
I
you'd beat them?
do like so terribly because I'm just like really bad at notes, blah blah, like dates, and I think like people could defeat me in a debate in a second if they're using facts and statistics and stuff.
But using facts and stats too, though, right?
Yeah, but I just would need them like on me. You know what I mean? I don't know. But so like in a literal debate right now, probably I wouldn't do well. I'm not a debater really. However, then again, maybe if we talk about
maybe not a debate, but like you two people having a conversation and you're
right.
trying to prove your point.
Exactly. And I think there's no denying I think I would definitely win, or like quote unquote win. But I think they have a lot of excuses. And actually it's true. I went to a financial literacy. I wonder if this like person's watching this person. I went to a financial literacy conference the other day and they were like, why are you here? Because I was like talking about, like GameStop, AMC, how honestly I think Nvidia is way overvalued. And I don't know, I've heard like rumors that I don't know, they've got things going on and they're kind of the opposite of AMC in the sense that they're like, I don't know, there's a lot of companies that I think are the opposite of AMC. Even people are saying like Berkshire Hathaway is kind of being hyper inflated while AMC is being suppressed. And this guy, he said, like, what are you doing here? And I said, like, well, I just want to see what's going on. But at the same time, like, you guys don't want to hear any of this, but if you watch the movie called like The Big Short, and it was like with Christian Bale and all these different people in it, and it shows him talking to bankers right before the 2008 financial crisis, and he's like, I think I'm shorting the housing market, right? He was shorting the housing market. He thought the housing market was going to crash, and he put billions and billions of dollar bets into the fact the housing market would crash, and everyone thought he was great. What, the housing market? Everyone has more houses, and then suddenly they all got hit because he did that math. It's the opposite of that, and so yeah, like, I mean.
Yeah. So earlier, I know you said you're really good at reading patterns or seeing patterns.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How has it helped you out with all the stuff you're doing?
Well, I would say in two ways. I think like one, it's like character, like people's characters, because you really are like listening to people you don't know on YouTube, and you're like taking their word, or you're listening to their advice and their opinions. And so after a while, you can see like are they being shady, sketchy? Are they talking down to people? Are they making degrading comments? Are they like actually really fun and really consistent and really, so like in one thing, maybe just like character. Then, I would say another thing that's like, so that's a little more vague, specific. How is it extremely helping? Well, one word in the community is tinfoil. And I think it comes from like, like drug reference, or like, cause you're like smoking tinfoil, you're like smoking something out of tinfoil or whatever. And like, then you're crazy, right? It's like, you must be smoking crack, right? Isn't that what they say? And that was, so the point is like, people are like, you must be smoking crack if you look at that and you think blah, blah, blah. Like, for example, I put in there's a picture like of like this tinfoil from one of these children's books that Ryan Cohen wrote, and it spells out the word cash with like $15 under it. And it's like spelled out with like teddy bears and like, toys and stuff. And it's like, is that a subliminal message for cash? $14. And so people are thinking, is each share of Bed Bath & Beyond to be $14? So there's all these little, like, even when Bed Bath & Beyond put their thing on Times Square, how people can put like, there's like that big Times Square thing. There was this like weird, and everyone's like, am I going crazy? Like a teddy bear in a window nearby. And so all these pictures got put out, and there was like this like teddy bear, and everyone's like, am I going crazy? Is that a teddy bear in the window? And then like it sure as hell was. And there's this rumor that that new company, Teddy Holdings, is going to be the Amazon competitor. And then right alongside Bye Bye Baby, a little teddy bear shows up, but like only for a little bit. And so it's kind of all these little things where like you start seeing all these like Lego, there's so much rumor, Blockbuster, there's so much rumors tied into this. And so it's like Jeff, like you keep seeing like Jeffrey the giraffe show up in places, and Butter, like all these like tiny symbols showing up where you're like, am I going crazy? I don't think so. And so you just kind of see all these like patterns and hints. And of course, so to make sense of this all, at some point, let's imagine there really is this Amazon competitor coming out. They're going to need all their shit together and go, Mama, we exist. And then everyone's like, oh. And then like what? It'll have like freights, a website, like products, like shipping systems, like there's a lot to get into place. And so it seems like they are like, you can only hide so much, and they're giving little Easter eggs. So it does seem like it is coming out. And so you can find all these hints. Like there's even people that are saying, now that you mentioned it, I see it everywhere. And yeah, so you just kind of need to know what you're looking for, and then you start seeing it everywhere.
So I know all the people you showed me on YouTube, all guys. Are there any
Right?
female, are there any female people doing this
Right?
kind
There's
of
like
stuff?
no girls
There's
into
no
this.
female people in it.
Like, I'll tell you something else about me as a person. Oh, and now I realize it's like kind of lame, but like I was one of those like guys, girls. Like I always got along with the guys growing up, but also like I moved a lot or whatever. And then even in college, I was the sweetheart of a fraternity, like Phi Kappa Psi. Live ever die number Phi Kappa Psi. And I loved them. I loved them. It was so fun. And it was like all international from the north. And like I just kind of like was like a sister, you know, like I told you, like I always become everyone's like aunt. Like I always like therapist everyone. And so I kind of have always, I just realized like I just kind of like leaned into myself recently where I said, you know what, like I do, like I always kind of get along well talking to guys, but also just hanging around. And I realized I'm doing that exact same thing, watching all these guys talk about stocks and just sort of hanging around and listening. And so it's yeah, so yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I guess unfortunately, it is mostly guys talking about this stuff. There's a couple girls who do come in, and I think it'd be really fun. I mean, it'd be so fun to, you know, talk with more girls about it. But it's a very isolating hobby.
You ever thought about starting your own YouTube channel about this?
You know, I did a little, but again, then everyone writes comments, and they're like, next time you should respect the viewer more. But and I'm like, give me a freaking break,
Yeah,
you
you can't. You
know.
don't read the comments.
Yeah, I know.
Number one rule: don't read the
Come on,
comments.
guys. Like, I'm already gonna try and make my scripted content, and at the same time, this stuff is so important, but yeah, you know, it all come into place. It all fall into place.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
So anything about the subject we haven't covered yet? I know we're like doing like a 30,000 view of everything.
You know, I guess I would say, what can you expect from Bed Bath and Beyond? How about that?
Yeah.
So here's what I think is going to happen. I think so. Basically, what happened is, you know, here's the thing: is like they say, like you weren't wrong, you were early.
Hmm.
And then they say, like, well, sometimes being early is wrong. Okay, for Bed Bath and Beyond, there was nothing you could do but be early because now there's no way to buy shares, and there hasn't been for like 10 months. Like you kind of had to get in, and now you wait. You're like let's wait. So what I think is going to happen, but you could buy bonds, which again, you need to freaking learn how to do that. I don't know, but I know for Bed Bath & Beyond, if you want to get on this, you can buy bonds. GameStop's probably involved with this. I mean, there's still ways to, you know, join on this thing or whatever if you want or whatever. Um, so what I expect is going to happen here, quote unquote, soon, quote unquote, as they say, tomorrow, because like it could be at any moment. They always say MOAS is tomorrow, and if it's not tomorrow, it's tomorrow. It's the next tomorrow. I think at any moment it's going to come out this big announcement, and they're going to say, guess what? Bed Bath and Beyond isn't going through bankruptcy. Guess what? All this crazy stuff happened with Bed Bath and Beyond, and Ryan Cohen, this guy who's kind of standing up for the people, even though he's a billionaire, is about to like expose it all, but for the sake of like humanity. And then we're going to find out all this like financial crime happened, all these different things, all these attempts to bankrupt companies. The whole entire public is going to wake up to this whole idea of purposeful shorting, predatory shorting. And then on top of that, it seems like they are going to announce this holding company, which is a Amazon competitor. They're going to revive all these companies: Blockbuster, Toys R Us, Sears, Rite Aid, Party City, and bring all these back and excite the millennial parents, the millennial. Oh my God, Blockbuster's backing. Excite all of us who love these companies. And I think it's going to wipe away. It's gonna have an amazing chance here to compete or possibly defeat Amazon. And then on top of that, with this goal of making better customer service, which I truly love, like better quality and better customer service. And then at the same time for Bed Bath and Beyond, it seems like Bed Bath and Beyond, that BBBY ticker was preserved. That ticker now is going to be BBBY, standing for Bye Bye Baby. Bed Bath and Beyond is BBB. So now these tickers, these shares that I bought that have been kind of hidden, are gonna, you know, water's gonna be put back onto them. You know, it's like a sun powered calculator. Gonna go back in the sun. Where have I been? And now all these stocks are gonna come back to life that I bought at 20 cents. You know, I bought all these stocks at 20 cents. Like I was saying in these books, it's saying $14. So if I bought it for 14 cents another or 20 cents an hour, at some point these stocks actually did hold value, much to the bank's dismay. No, and then they're gonna owe everybody these stocks. And then it also sounds like they keep saying these numbers 741, which again, I know I sound like, no, I'm getting all into this. And you're like, what is she talking about? But they keep hinting that you're going to get 7 for 1. So whether that's for every one GameStop share you have, you're actually getting 7 companies, or for every one BBBY stock you have, you're getting 7. So everyone's like, what are these 7 companies? Is it Blockbuster, Sears? Like, anyway, it's all this, again, it's all this crazy stuff that's going to happen. And so that's where I'd say to you, like, no financial risk, no nothing, whatever, but getting yourself involved in things is the best way to learn about it. So if you're like, what's she talking about? This sounds interesting. I don't know. You could always consider, again, like buy one share and get emotionally invested, but you could lose all your money too. I don't know. So like, again, this stuff is like so exciting and interesting, and it's how the people make money. It's like how true money is made. And so if, yeah, anyway, just like, again, all that kind of probably sounded crazy, but it's like this epic crazy stuff is going to, I think, come out of this and then some. So,
Yeah, people don't realize like back in the day, Sears like was one of the top companies in the world, right? They had like they back in the 30s, people like order stuff out of the catalog. Sears was everywhere.
right.
You could go buy clothes, everything now is like I don't think Sears is in business. No, Sears is gone, right?
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So but it's because
But they
it
fell,
being predatory.
yeah, and they
They these
fell pretty quickly too. And like it went like from this like
Right.
instantly, right?
And exactly. And so it seems like this is this predatory short selling where they just make give the companies bad advice. They said, don't worry, the CEO, we'll keep you safe, we'll keep your family safe, but let's abandon the ship. And then they keep everything valuable. And so I think they saw this is happening, saw this is happening, saw this is happening, and then they were able to go in and save this company. And now the fact that this one company was finally saved, it's like, I don't know, like their system was so risky that just one being prevented now can blow up the whole game.
So you talk about how you love great customer service several times, right?
Yeah.
Off the top of your head, what's the company like when you think it's company like you think instantly great customer service?
God,
Like they get this.
uh, um, I don't know. It's like it's so hard to think of these days. Oh, I don't know. I guess like it's just so hard to think of these days. It's like even now people are getting worse customer service because like COVID. Like they can't give out samples and like any. Oh my God, like my local grocery store is kind of sweet because like they have well-priced coffee and they give out samples. I mean, I think almost everywhere's gotten bad customer service or I don't know. Oh, yeah. Really, honestly, I can't think of many.
Yeah, I would think Chick-fil-A off the top of their head.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I
I
think the only one I think of Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it just makes me think of like I remember seeing like those like on the internet they had like where there's like plastic cubes around them and like work in the like COVID in the rain and
Yeah,
so it's like maybe it's customer service, but are they happy or are they being
yeah.
robots?
I mean, that's true. I know now Chick-fil-A, I had a thing on it, like a text. It was really hot. All the workers like standing outside, they always had like their personal air conditioning machines over their head. I thought it was pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I'll tell you, for example, like there's the company that I'm teaching on Out School, and they have like, but even so, it used to have really good customer service, but now like it's getting more delayed and the feedback takes a day or two. And so I think in general, people are allowed to get away with bad customer service.
yeah.
And
And here's
just
two
becoming the
examples of
norm.
bad customer service. I think I
Okay.
don't know if it's still happening. I think the backlist was so bad they stopped it. Like I know Wendy's was doing a thing where like it was called surge pricing. So like, for example, I'm the only person in the line. The meal is like I'm making the numbers. A meal is like $10, right?
Right.
But then I go an hour later. There's 20 people in the line. Now my meal is like $20.
Right.
So I have to pay more to stay in the line longer. Like, how's that fucking make
I'm telling you,
sense?
I think some of this is like being done on purpose to make people think they're going crazy. Like I really think there's some companies like Rite Aid, I'm telling you, Rite Aid, I think is part of this whole GameStop thing. Like again, we're in the sense it's been given this bad advice on purpose, but it's
Rite
like
Aid is like a
so
pharmacy company.
yeah, like, but it's like so in disguise that everyone's like, oh, I don't know what's going on. They have like $12 nail polish.
Yeah.
Like who in the world is going into a company saying this is smart? And so it's like they do these things that, like to your like the naked eye, you're like, well,
I think maybe they do it to see.
but they're doing
Okay,
it to see like what will make everyone crack, and then and then we go, it wasn't
or,
our fault.
or maybe it's like the opposite. Like, okay, I'll pay charge $12 for nail polish. Oh, they're actually buying it. Let's increase to $14.
Oh
Increase
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
$15. What's the cutoff point, right?
right. Where it's exactly, and like, and I think this exactly like it's all like kind of self-fulfilling. It's like everyone's like cutting costs. It's all gotten out of control and unsustainable. And I think it is because this like crash hasn't happened, and because these priorities are out of control. And
And I think Wendy's, I'm making this up maybe, but I'm pretty sure
okay,
like they did that policy for like 2 weeks, then that so much backlash, they backed off. The damage was done, right?
yeah,
Like, like the damage was already done, I think.
yeah,
And then you hear what Walmart was doing. I, I, I I think they stopped this too, but they had a thing where like they were going to charge you to use the self checkout.
oh my
So
god,
like, so you want me to check my groceries out that you haven't trained me to do, and you're gonna charge me to do it
yeah,
instead of like
time is money. It's like what the heck is
instead of
going
like
on?
maybe hiring a couple more Walmart cashiers. And so this is my crazy Walmart story, right? I was visiting my daughter in Dallas a couple years ago. Had to go to Walmart. Of course, there's like two registers open, a lot of people in line, and I was I found out it was the person at the cashier doing the groceries, another person. So I was third in line, right? A phone rings, right? And the cashier looks at her phone. I'll be back. I have to take that, and just left. We're like, What the fuck is
You're like,
going
you
on?
know what? I'm gonna leave too.
Yeah, I read like yeah, I read that. Yeah,
With your stuff, maybe.
yeah.
Right.
And it kills me too. Like you have to.
Exactly. It's just like no one cares anymore. And then even corporate doesn't care. And honestly, I'll say it like if I, and then my other dreams of freaking generational wealth. So
Yeah.
I honestly kind of am dreaming a little big lately, but I'm deciding like, your life is what you make it. My daughter's daycare, kinder care, it's like you look online, it's like they're famous for kind of being a disaster. You know what I mean? Like kind of just like the bare minimum. But at least it's affordable. Our location isn't that bad, but the more I'm looking, I'm like, what the heck? Because I have this experience in children, young education, da, da, da. I don't know if I told you this. The CEO, the two companies he used to run, now the CEO of Kinder Care, the two companies he used to lead, one like both for a decade, Old Navy and Jack in the Box.
Oh wow.
So what? Like low quality, high production Old Navy or medium quality. And then Jack in the Box, which is like 0% healthy, just convenient and yummy. And now suddenly he's the number one like daycare, the number one care provider of children in America is run by the former like head of Old Navy and Jack in the Box.
Isn't it funny how the more horrible the food is for your health, the more yummy it is?
Yeah. And yeah. And I'm like, how in the world is someone like this in charge of in charge of the decision making for the majority of children in America? So someone like me, now that I'm learning about money, I'm learning about financing, I'm learning about investing, activist investing, which is activist investing is where you go in with a purpose and make a company better. And it's not necessarily the company itself is bad. It's that the leadership is not well intended. So I could see myself going in trying to make a couple $1 billion and then making, Kinder Care a better company.
So next,
That's my dream.
talk about the concept of money. What I mean by that is like $850 might be a lot of money to one person.
Right.
And of course, it's penny change to someone else.
I know.
$850 million might be a lot of money to someone, but then
Right.
again, it's really not right. So you're talking about the concept of money, how different people have different attitudes towards money based on economic situations and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's like based off of conditioning and like, you're taught to think like, wow, $50 is so much, but like look at they've printed like 80% more of dollars than ever in existence. So actually 50 is the new 400 is the new 50. You know what I mean? And like we're all kind of in denial and we're not being told this all the time. While the people in power are being told like, hey, look at it. So again, it's just this, it's like education. I even asked ChatGPT, I said, what's the one thing we could do to save the world? And like, what's the one thing you can focus on? And they said education. And so I think now more than ever in this like, day and age of information wars and, like what's true and fake news, it's like, well, it's a little bit only getting worse, but also hopefully getting better. And I think, I'm loving Gen Z. I feel like they're like, so like, they don't take any crap and they're like figuring out technology and ways to communicate. And like, they're just like cutting the crap. And so I actually feel really hopeful for the future, given this like MOAS thing, the millennials being smart, working together. And then like, Gen Z's not taking any of the correct.
Do you think it matters that what political party is at any level of government, like federal, state, city, actual makes a difference in the economy?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Let's see. I mean, I know. And then again, some of my best friends, even like my personal friends, were supporting politicians who then their views on finance make perfect sense why they're saying that. But actually, it's like not solving anything. They're like print more money, don't hit the debt ceiling, like extend the debt ceiling. So it's like again, it's like education that even the politicians in charge don't have the best information and then they don't even know what they're getting themselves into. So it's all education. I'm like, yeah, it's crazy.
So with education, I think there's a difference between a good education and a bad education. How do you make sure kids are getting good education versus bad education? Is like training the teachers correctly or?
No, I mean, give me a break. I think as many people as you can learn from and like oh yeah. So my student and I tutor a kid in entrepreneurship and he's 9 years old and he said that his goals are to end all homelessness and hunger. And I'm like, oh, that's gonna, let's try. You have your whole freaking life. I am there with you, but like, this is gonna take some thinking.
Yeah.
And I found a website called like invisiblepeople.org or whatever, and then they were talking about the history of homelessness in America, and they were saying that actually it started like 130 years after the settling of Europeans, and they started making these laws to displace people. And I like I was saying, probably the settlers came, then 3 generations later, they said, all right, I've had enough of you freaks. I've had enough of you annoying people. I've had enough of you bums. Get out. And so then the people in power wrote these rules, and then that was the first documented homelessness. And so then we were laughing, we were surprised. And I said, so Julian, what was the cause of homelessness? Laws. So, you can sit here and you can feed people and you can home them and you can do all this stuff. But again, it's like, if you don't get to the root of it, nothing's really going to change. And
so do you think we can, any chance we can solve that problem?
wait. Oh, and then going back to, but anyway, I want to go back to that homelessness thing. Oh yeah. So I was telling him, so how can we tell, sorry. So how can we tell kids, how to be intelligent? And so then I said to Julian, to my student, you can look at him, julianbusinessman.com. You can, his mom said that's fine. And he makes music videos, all this amazing stuff. And I said to Julian, okay, this website right here says that homelessness started because of laws. That's true. But at the same time, who made this website? Who are they? Who'd they pay for? Was it taken over by AI? We don't know. I said, so here's one idea. Like, here's maybe one way, maybe here's one reason, but you need to keep studying and keep learning and learn and use your common sense. And then, you'll like, let's see if this same fact keeps going up. And it's the same stuff with a lot of stock stuff too, with when you're looking at the message boards and you don't know who anyone is. They could be a paid bot. They could be a bank in disguise, like all these different things. And so you need to kind of just trust yourself. I mean, oh God, there's a lot right now, but I think just trying to learn lots of things. And I don't know, what do you hear? Like become an expert in something and just know you don't need to know everything. I don't know. Good luck, everyone. Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah. So anything else you want to cover about this GameStop, Ryan Cohen, all this stuff right here? Anything else you want to talk about?
Okay. Yeah. I'll say this. I really think something huge is coming. People always say it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. I just don't think that's the case. I don't think anything needs to be a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I think when we get that mindset, you actually end up chasing things. Like the first time I ever bought GameStop was at $140. Nope, that was the second time because I'd originally bought it at $4. And then I was like, who cares? And then finally I got excited after it gone so crazy. And then it's up at 140. And then actually, those shares I'm down on. And it's because I was chasing this opportunity. I was like, oh my God. Like I'd been seeing it. And then finally up here, I want to buy it. And then, so in some ways, that's what I would like to say to people is like, let's say this is interesting you. And let's say you're like, maybe I'll buy a share. And then let's say tomorrow or whatever, it's like things start kicking off. The price is like boom, 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 boom. Okay. If you put money in, cool. If you don't put money in, also cool. Because it's just your kind of opportunity. It's like that push to start learning more and then learn more and then learn more. And then you can always, like that's what I always say, never chase anything, never FOMO into everything. Because there'll always be new opportunities and there'll always be things you can get into, get excited about, really learn. And so I just think anything you're like, oh, I have to hurry. Like that could go well, but also it really could go wrong. And it's not at all it's not done with any sort of, plan. So I think just take your time and trust that, let's say this all does take off. You can watch it and more is going to happen. If this happens and we're right, that's that meme of I'm the captain now. That movie, like we're the captain now. I'm the captain now because it turns out we've hacked this. We figured it out. We've kind of reworked the financial system. We've shined lights on this corruption and now we know what's going on. So we're going to tell you what's going on. And so I think it can kind of be this revolution where we can all learn together and,
So you said that y'all hacked the system, but what percentage of people think have actually hacked the system? Like how many people think have hacked it? And what percentage is actually like going along with the old ways of doing things?
I would say like, you need to look like how many people are in AMC and GameStop investors. Take all those people,
like maybe 1%, 2% of population
of the stock market investing population, would be so. Yeah, actually, so I think there's something like 90% of the stock market is owned by like 1% of people, and so that's also why this is like, because like 90% of the stock market is betting against these companies, and yet there's millions and millions and millions of individual fish now becoming this epic fish that's actually probably going to eat many sharks all in one bite.
Yeah, I thought, what's that company called? BlackRock. That BlackRock actually
they own everything.
Owns everything. Yeah.
That video I posted on LinkedIn. Yeah. There's like the girl. Yeah. Like exactly, and that's the kind of stuff that's like so exciting. It's like exactly. It's that balance of like it's heartbreaking because you're like, what the f? Like every movie premise was on reality.
Yeah.
In like so many ways, and you're like, what the f? Like that. Like what? But at the same time, it's like, okay, if I'm saying it, you're saying it, you're saying like all these Boeing people. It's like hundreds of people coming out. Like at some point. The dam's broken, the jig's up.
All of them can't be lying.
Exactly. So I think we're in for a little bit of chaos here. Like, because like nobody knows who to turn to. No one knows who to trust. But
yeah, I think maybe 23 years ago, the philosophy was, okay, if you're in a position of power or government, whatever, if you're a position of power, you know you're doing, we trust you. Now it's like,
dude,
no.
Yeah.
We don't trust you.
Because we see we could be doing, I mean, like, you look at the people and you're like, Like
back in the day, there's a guy named Walter Cronkite in the news, right? If Walter Cronkite said the moon was meant to achieve, people would believe him, right? Because he's so trustworthy, right? Now, CNN, they're called Clown News Network,
Dude, and that's
things.
I'm like getting
Like no
confused.
one trusts the media, no one trusts the people in power no more.
Okay, and this is what I'm saying. I love Gen Z. It's like apparently Gen Z, like, and again, I don't know, like apparently, again, this is like a really controversial thing to say, and it's like out of nowhere, but apparently Gen Z like 100% doesn't believe that 9/11 was real, and they're like 100% like proven up, down, left, and right. And so I think like that's kind of the stuff about like they think it was planned, and so that's kind of that stuff about like Gen Z and BlackRock and all this stuff, and even me like I'm scared to talk about it at first until the more they realize lots of people are talking about this and they're still alive. So you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I really think this decade is going to be defined by whistleblowers because there's the point that no one can carry on acting like everything's fine when we all know this stuff. And so now it is, what are we going to do with all this information?
Yeah, I know several people too who like believe 911 was like an inside job and stuff. And you listen to them and like, oh, so that makes sense, right?
Oh, it's like all the money. It's like you look at all the money and they like shorted. They even shorted their like buildings and like all this
And
insurance and
my
stuff.
thing is like first, I believe it actually happened, but my thing is like all the skyjackers were from Saudi Arabia, but we invaded Iraq, right? Like
I don't
it
know.
makes no sense.
You know,
Right
I'm
there.
like, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, my thing is like, I'm just like, dang, you know, you're just finding all these people kind of speaking up and questioning things that like we'd always assumed were true in the past. And now people are getting more information and everyone's have their little expert and things
Yeah,
and things.
and then scientifically, there's no way for the tower to implode from inside based on the steel. And
oh, yeah. And then they were saying like there's no like remains of a flame. And then they showed this clip from like back in the day, like day 2. And they're like, guess what? We found amongst the rebel the passport of the hijacker. So it turns out it was him. Like that's the way they were able to figure out who it was because they found a passport 1 block away.
Yeah.
And so you start realizing like, wait a minute, what? And so again, that's where I'm excited for like humanity in the sense that at least we're all like realizing what's going on. And there's no way that can't be better as a whole. I would think.
Stuff like that, is it better to stay ignorant or neither?
No.
So let me ask you this. So like, go back to the day, right, where,
maybe it is if you're like
President JFK got assassinated 6 days, right?
Right.
They think the Lee Harvey also did it. Let's suppose it came out that actually the CIA killed him, right? And that came out like in 2027. Like, how do you think the country react? Right? We're like, oh man, we got rid of the CIA. Everything's a lie.
You know, I recently had this.
Like, do we really want to know the truth?
Yeah, because I recently had this kind of experience with like a consultant, and I didn't, like have a good experience. And then I realized like I'm not really sure how that went. And I could either ignore it or it's like again, it's like if all this like ignorance is bliss, but at the same time, it's only gonna get worse. And that's actually okay. Let's forget all this stuff I said. Let's think about this thing. People always say, don't talk about money, don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion. Well, then what happens? Like they get more and more divided, more and more secretive. So I think all this stuff is not fun to hear, and a lot of people don't want to hear and don't have the patience. But at the same time, this is how like change will happen. It's like let's go here,
I think one bad thing about a country now is like you have like the 1% of the far left liberals. I think in my personal life, if you somehow took out the 4% of 1% liberals and take out the 4% 1% conservatives, the country is so much better. Because those two get all the attention, negative stuff, and here in the middle, like what are y'all doing, right? Like. Most Democrats I know don't agree with the far left liberals. Most Republicans I know don't agree with the fucking performance.
It's a distraction performance.
It's a lot of performance stuff. Yeah,
it's a distraction performance to keep everyone. It's again, it's that they like the ants in the can. The analogy of the ants in the can, and then they like everyone's in the can, and then they kick the can, and then everyone fights amongst each other. But who's the one kicking the can? Yeah.
So this is one thing too. Like I would never want to be president. This is one thing I do want to do. Right. Like let's suppose let's fast forward to year 2032. Right, and we're saying. Tom Brown is elected president.
Okay.
Inauguration, he's sworn in. He gets his briefing. I want to be there for the briefing. Like when they say, "Hey, Mr. President, I do want to do this. You can't because of this." Here's alien 123. He gives us all the Bitcoin, right? Like, what's that briefing, right? The president gets you. Like he actually learns all the stuff that goes on, like all the dangers, all the bad stuff. Hey, there's an asteroid coming, might hit us.
Oh, yeah, like the recap, like the 101. Yeah. Welcome to the sea.
Yeah, welcome to this.
And let's
I know you campaign on this, but if you did this, this affects this. I would love to like that briefing, right?
Yeah.
That'd probably fucking blow my mind away. Like,
right.
I'd probably become
like Area 51. Yeah, what's really going on?
I'd probably become a monk because I have too much information.
That's what I'm saying.
Can you imagine that briefing he gets? Like all these like the Department of Defense, the climate, people, environment. Like, hey, Mr. President, well, I know we said we have enough oil for 100 years, really only for 2 years. Or hey, or I know we say in the news North Korea can't attack us. Well, they have 20 bombs against us in 2 seconds. Like that. How fucking? I can imagine that has to be a fucking scary ass briefing.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, and then again, I just like, God, then again, it's like, well, you don't want to worry people, but again,
Yeah.
our origins, like, of our, it's so funny. I've gone through this, like, kind of like American awakening where, like, after I went to China, I came back and I was like, I hate America. And now I realize, like, no, like, we have, like, a really great land,
Yeah.
like, we have, like, a lot of potential. Like, come on, America.
I mean, we're a good country to be. I know we get shit on all the time, but like as far as agriculture, land, diversity, people, like people always talk about lack of diversity here, but
Freedom-ish.
I'll go to,
It is.
but when you go to Japan,
Dude, that's what I was thinking too. Like, I meet people overseas all the time, and
Japan,
we
Germany,
always like shame ourselves for being racist. But like, go to any country, they're like surrounded by only locals, and they're like everyone's like everyone's. And I'm not like I'm just saying like by the way, racism is like part of cultures because like they don't have as much. So we are very diverse in America. You see people from all different countries all the time, and I remember meeting like people overseas that were like, oh, I'd never even met anyone that wasn't from my town.
yeah.
And so that's like oh, we're just more exposed to racism because we're seeing more people.
Here's a question for you. So you're President Kelly Kirk of the United States,
All right,
and you have your daily brief or whatever,
sure,
and they come in and say, "Hey, Mr. President,
I would do it.
this." Okay, wait. They say, "Mrs. President, there's no way to tell you this, but there's an asteroid coming, and it's gonna be here in 3 months.
Hmm.
It's gonna destroy our life in 3 months."
Yeah.
Do you tell everyone? Do you like let everyone just live their life? And they say when it comes, it's like it'll be in the sky within seconds. Everyone will be dead. Like there's no like
Yeah.
it's like instant death. Like
If I was the president, I would tell everyone.
so you no living in bliss, live your life. You just tell them, and with the rest
I would talk with a lot of people, figure out how to tell them, and then tell
but
people,
isn't the
yeah,
risk like people lose their mind, looting,
that's gonna happen anyway.
but not for so the asteroid hits is instant death. Like there's no
I know. Exactly. Everyone's already dying. So if everyone's going crazy, I think at first people would freak out and then they'd go, oh my God, I'm so glad you told me. Let me live these like final months.
mm,
What's to lose? And then I'd say, guess what? And food's free
mm.
and everyone can stay that and pools are free and live a little because like we're all going down.
And that's where you say, hey, my alien friend here is going to take me to this planet. Peace out, Earth.
That's that movie. Don't look down.
Yeah.
That was that movie that came out, and that's like that
Yeah.
was the premise. But I think I mean, if everything's blowing up anyway, I'd say, hey, yeah,
Okay.
food's free, live a little, and at that point it's over.
Yeah.
You can't teach anyone anything else. You can't do anything. Hardly. I mean, I guess you could, but
Yeah.
mostly people are gonna do what they want to do. Their
Yeah.
final 3 months, and I think that'd be nice to tell
I'd
them.
be interested to know if like that did happen, like will people get more religious or they like, okay, God,
Lean into everything.
or
You know what I mean?
or do you think they'd be like, okay, obviously God not real if we're gonna kill him in 3 months?
I think you just lean into more, whatever you want.
What do you want?
Like exactly like what would you do if I said I promise you. No, I don't even promise you. If it was just a known fact in 3 months, like what would you do? Drop everything and
Yeah.
blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would drop everything, be around my loved ones, and say like, okay, like no point to Wall to the Vault anymore.
Yeah.
No point to stocks anymore.
Yeah.
If this is the scenario, no,
Yeah.
food's free for everyone. I'm the president, guys. Guess what? I'm
Like-
not gonna be the president anymore. Yeah, I would
like,
just talk it
dude-
out, think it out.
dude.
Within a week, I'm done.
Like, dude, I'm not paying my mortgage no more.
Yeah,
Like,
nothing.
yeah.
And no one would need to. I'd say mortgages are done.
Yeah.
All the food's free. Please pick up your trash, but also who the F cares? Let's be real, because it's all about to explode.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a totally different. I wouldn't act like that in any other
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
But I would talk to a lot of people. I'd reason like, okay, what's the best way to handle this? But I think pretty much for the most part, have anything you want,
Yeah.
and we're screwed. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what kind of stuff goes on?
Or what? Build a spaceship really quick, everyone.
Yeah.
Freeze yourself. I don't.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to try anything. Let's do that really quick.
Like, damn it, Elon.
Yeah, like, let's split up
You took too long to get us to Mars.
I love this. This is someone I was talking with recently, and it turns out I'm a huge fan of globalism, which I grew up my whole life thinking globalism was like, what's that called? Gentrification.
Mhm.
Like where it's like kind of a wipe of teach everyone, this exact same thing. Turns out globalism actually just means everyone works together and to be like a really efficient really efficient planet. And I'm like, yeah. So it turns out I love globalism. So, but at that point, if there's literally the whole globe's about to explode, globalist, everyone just have a good 3 months.
Yeah.
But if we're not exploding, let's work as a globe.
Is there something on your bucket list you haven't done yet?
Make that TV show, have Moas. No, I mean, I think at this point, like I've had my daughter. I love my life. I love my work. I'm slow and steady building all my goals. I just feel like it's trending up. Like I feel like everything's trending up and I have nothing to complain about. And as long as I can keep good habits, like again, like my biggest struggles now would be like keep eating healthy, work, take care of yourself because I'm really trying to put myself into a.
Do you have a timeline for these goals? Like suppose like in 5 years nothing's get done yet. It's like you have like
a lot. I mean, a lot of it kind of depends on each other. At the same time, stuff could take off before itself. But like, if all of a sudden this does happen and I suddenly get surged with like multi-millions of dollars, that's gonna change things a bit. But I'm kind of acting like it won't. So no, No, because I just feel like things are just going so great. Um, things are just like, like again, like we still aren't really making any money. We still, look at what's the volume, you're like, what the heck? But behind the scenes, like I know everything's going right on plan and it's like really turning into what it's gonna be. So
So,
yeah.
what's your plan to get customers? Like, you have like a go-to-market plan or anything like that?
Well, for teaching classes, we already have a whole customer base. And then again, like I think I want to make this like animated series, and I think it's gonna be this like effortless. If I can make it look good, it's gonna be the most effortless thing to sell. Which is so cocky and yeah, right. Like, welcome for reality. You're gonna get a slap in the face for reality. But like, I think I can sell these episodes to hotels, cruise ship, like anywhere that's like money is being spent, aka everywhere. And like parents could go like, wow, on my flight to Hawaii, my kids learned about budgeting. Like if I can make amazing episodes that also teach like budgeting on your flight to a holiday, parents are gonna brag that on their Alaska Airlines flight, their kid learned about budgeting. So anyway, I want my customers to be businesses, people I want to provide jobs for teachers. Like I want to like kind of, serve a lot of people.
So, tell us again who your perfect customer is, so to speak.
Oh my God, no, I'm telling you, like I would love, like again, I want teachers to love me. I want teachers to be like, hell yeah, this is the best part-time job.
Who's actually gonna pay for your product? Those the teachers
Parents
or
and then
parents?
businesses. Like again, I don't want to take too much money from individuals though.
Okay.
So I think if we could find companies like, Mini Cooper worked with me once, and they're working with us again, of these kind of lifestyle brands that want to kind of be, an experience. And
And have you like locked down or figured out your pricing model?
no, no, no.
Okay.
But I have also, all this GameStop stuff thing too is video games. It's educational. It's financial education. I've been like, I added like anyone who would add me tied to this, like some of the people from, Bye Bye Baby, Bed Bath and Beyond, and my like friends on LinkedIn. Like I'm trying to plant the seeds that like hopefully we really like. Hopefully, GameStop or Teddy will be some of my customers, and they're buying products from me in the future. And like YouTube, and yeah, I kind of like sky's the limit. But I definitely don't want to like predatory on parents. And
Okay.
this other thing, I think scholarships can pay for me as well when I get standards and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, as far as the future coming, like, do you see like this being like a franchise model or
I think it's gonna be just like a brand.
brand?
Like
Okay.
a brand with like a show,
Okay.
music, classes, and then again, I'll make my other show. And I think,
You see
yeah,
like maybe doing some like what's that show called like on TV like Blues Clues shows or Blues
kind
stuff
of,
like that.
yeah, I would say a lot more like Schoolhouse Rock is really
Okay.
gonna be the
Okay.
goal.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's rock. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Schoolhouse Rock. And then again, I grew up like on video games, like these dorky like jump start first grade, jump start second grade, like all these games where they were like these kind of fun RPG. You're like learning along the way, and it's kind of supplementary to school. And so I think also I want us to be making these like educational games, music, just kind of media. It's like 2-for-1 media that like is entertaining you and you're learning at the same time.
And I said it earlier. One of your goals is to make great content.
Valuable.
One of your goals is like make great content. Like define great content. What does that mean to you?
Exactly. It's valuable. It's like worth your time because not only is it a song, but also the lyrics are like life lessons and it sounds good. And there's like I have like the song like 1 cent a penny, 5 cents a nickel, 10 cents a dime, and a quarter 25. And then it's like, say the coins in order, penny, nickel, dime, and quarter. Like, hello. That's a really, really, really useful song. You're learning 1 cent a penny, like you're learning like the qualities, you're learning like the in order, like that's great. I mean, I'm sorry, that's a great freaking song. I wrote another song, put it to the test, like put it to the test. Are you about to invest? Will it be worth more in the future? So if I can just match the music to these lyrics, like, are you kidding? If you're walking around the whole rest of if you're learning this song as a kid, you're learning about investing, you're learning about credit cards, you're learning about all this stuff as a kid. Oh my God. I was learning like Puff the Magic Dragon, like I learned like happiness, like a song about a unicorn. Like none of that stuff was helping me. The 50 Nifty United States song, that helped me.
I forgot about Puff the Magic Dragon.
You're just learning a bunch of bullshit as a kid. And so if you can replace it with this useful stuff, then you're gonna be set, like at least making a little bit better choices.
I'm guessing plan later on to like translate to different languages.
Totally. Money's universal. And so is school. I mean, my TV show can go to other countries. I'm like, yeah, I just want to like, I think my frustration with what I saw in the education system and then how epic and fun and immersive education is overseas. I'm like, okay, I want to make that here. Let's make it with financial literacy. But also originally I wanted to kind of shine light on the school experience because you see it's a total disaster. And I think look at fashion, it's so glamorized, and look at sports, it's so glamorized. Why couldn't we do that same towards education? Because education is so powerful. If people were, it's like good that people distracted with fashion, get the people distracted with music, get the people, but but not all music. So, But I'm here to like be brave, be fight, and I have the ability to do it. I'm
So I know you're hiring teachers now. Are they in like non-teacher
gonna
positions?
fight for good.
Any non-teacher position hiring for like graphic designers or software developers or marketing people you're
Yeah,
hiring for?
exactly. I mean, I'm right now, well, I'm kind of on the lookout for illustrators and artists. I want to take a different approach for my social media. I've never, ever, ever kind of like, like, everyone's like, ew, I hate that. Me too. But I think maybe I'm going to try and treat my social media platforms like an art museum and start putting more art out. Again, I don't know, like, there's so many things I'm doing that, like, I could always use help. Like, we're working on books, games, website, but I'm not afraid to ask for help when I need it. But I think right now I mostly want a musician, illustrator. But again, if people want to help with social marketing, anything you want. If it sounds like I'm doing something you want to help out with, you can offer, and we'll see. But yeah, it's pretty,
All right.
bootstrapped.
And for people to reach out to you, the main ways are your website and your LinkedIn profile,
Yeah,
correct?
LinkedIn would be the best way. Our website is like it's like our website is like a blast from the past. It's like from the 90s, welltothevault.com. It doesn't have any working videos, links, but we'll have a new website soon. You can't even find me on there. So yeah, LinkedIn's gonna be the best
And
way
do
to
you have a
go.
YouTube channel yet?
Well, I have a YouTube channel, but I just have like 2 videos on
Okay,
it.
so LinkedIn's the main way.
Yeah, I really did. I mean, I cut almost all
So
distractions.
do you prefer LinkedIn for people to reach out to you, like your business email?
Yeah, LinkedIn's fine.
LinkedIn's fine. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
And my contacts also on julianbusinessman.com's about me.
Okay.
But I get a lot of spam emails too. So we'll let
Yeah.
people do the digging, and that'll save me at least 1 or 2 spammers.
Nice. Hey, Kel, is there anything else you want to talk about, or anything else that I asked you that we didn't talk about?
No. How about you?
Yeah. I think I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I'm really, really, really glad. Thanks for like having me back on. It's fun to talk about all this stuff, and we'll see what happens. And yeah, thanks again.
So any predictions for next year, 6 months about GameStop? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point, these will be revealed. The value will finally be unignorable for these companies, and then the prices will match. And everyone's gonna go like, what? Like a lot of people are like, what? And like, oh, and then it's really gonna be like a Bitcoin situation.
here's another question for you. Like before we talk about generations, like boomers, Generation X, Generation Z, all the different generations, do you think one generation is more open, like all this GameStop stuff? I'm presuming that boomers like have no idea what's going on. They're totally against it,
There's
or Generation Z like more like open, like okay, let's rock the system. Stuff.
they're fresh, and like, yeah, exactly. That's the age, right? This is the age, and I think the millennials are like, what the heck? We've had so many once in a lifetime horrible events
Oh yeah,
happen 100
millennials.
times
Yeah.
in a lifetime. And the other thing that I'm seeing is apparently like, and again, I think there's plenty of boomers that are really excited about this movement because they're like, I've been saying this for decades. So again, I think there's a reason like this is staying strong. But definitely I've heard something about how like, MSNBC or NBC or like all this stuff, like the boomers way of sort of brainwashing and suggesting financial investments and financial advice is starting. It doesn't work on Gen Z.
Mhm.
Like they even have like the anti-Kramer ETFs where you can whatever Kramer says, it does the opposite.
Yeah.
And it actually like always and Nancy Pelosi. So it's like again, meme stocks, like literally these stocks, people were talking about using memes because the algorithms were able to track the sentiment and use it against us. So, but the algorithms weren't smart enough to understand memes, sarcasm, pictures. And so people started communicating through memes. And now even like you saw that BlackRock where the girl's like, oh, I'm a banana. I'm gonna lick everything. And then suddenly she's like, okay, I have a second. And then she's actually revealing. I mean, that's why I freaking love Gen Z. And I love what we're doing. And I love this like bravery because like live a good life. And like I said, like I grew up on like there was like I read this like the book of virtues every night before bed. And like one of the stories, like the little girl stuck her finger in the hole in the wall so that the well didn't, so that the dam didn't flood the whole city, and then eventually so it's like anyway, I just feel like what the heck is going on? You know what I mean? Like really I'm turning into the problem here because I'm figuring out that everything's like everything else is the problem. So it's like it's just kind of like I feel like the crazy person, and yet I'm just trying to like live in a world where the stock market is what it says it is. And so, if that means that I'm this like rebellious, loud, crazy person just for like, wait, what? Like for like asking questions, I guess that's what I'll keep doing. Because like I said, I'd rather try and help with I don't want to just pretend like I don't see problems. But also I don't know, again, I'm not an expert. I don't know what I'm doing. So you have to be careful how much you're yelling when you don't know what you're talking about. But it comes to a point you're like, okay, I know enough to know like what's going on?
And isn't millennial, aren't they the first generation that has not done as good or better than the previous generation?
Yeah, like exactly. Like we're the first one in America that like we have less
Kind of flat line.
income.
Yeah.
And I turned
Less income, more debt.
and that actually it's funny. Like I just feel like after you live overseas, especially like I lived in China, it's like I learned about their depression, why that happened, like and like all like in their generation. So no, they're actually like they'd had that where like everyone was doing better, everyone was doing better, and then everyone started doing it worse, and they had depression, and then now slowly every generation is doing better. Um, and so exactly, I think we're kind of here, and now it's like but I also, yeah, no, realistically, yeah, I think we're gonna be like this. I was gonna say, but I think Gen Z is smart, but no, not the majority. I mean, not the majority. The thing is, there's just not enough jobs, and this is the other thing too. All these jobs are being told by consultants to cut jobs and cut people and no, it's like a free for all. It's like a free for all fall right now, and I don't even know what people are supposed to do.
I know previously the American dream was own a home. I think that's gone.
Right.
You have a company like BlackRock again. BlackRock, the big private investment, like buying like hundreds, thousands of homes
Right.
to rent them out.
Right.
I got email once a day from some random company. We want to buy your home. You see all these
Wow.
ads. Don't sell your home somewhere local. Sell it to us. Better price, all that kind of stuff.
So again, it just makes me think of like when I learned about, what's that called? The Great Leap Forward or overseas cod. And I'm telling you, it's like oh, the moment you start like saying any sort of like I'm understanding this stuff, you're like, like, am I even allowed to say this? But it is like, it's like I learned about in China, like the Great Leap Forward is they came up with this idea to like gather everyone's metallic items from their home and sell them to make great cash. And then they'd burn those down and turn them into tools or weapons or whatever. And then suddenly everyone's selling their ovens, their refrigerators, and everything to make money really quickly. But then they have no oven, no refrigerator, and suddenly they can't make food. And so that's exactly the same kind of thing. It's like the short-term reward, but in the long term, like, oh, good, you made this like great money now, but
Yeah.
now you're screwed with the situation you put yourself into.
And I saw this on somewhere earlier, like
with selling your house quickly or whatever.
yeah, I saw some TV earlier, like somewhere, or like if an appliance was made in the 1990s, it's still running now, right?
Yeah.
Appliance made now is like 5 years is fucking broke.
Exactly. And that's where also I think this retail revolution, this customer delight, this quality service, this competition against Amazon, they're going to be able to win. Like you see this chance because of this situation we're in. We're like, what the heck? Everything's breaking. Nothing's quality. Everything's more expensive. You're paying like a water fee, like for drinking, it's like all this stuff. So I think there's room for change and improvement. Exactly. And if things can last again.
Have you seen this for the federal government? Like so they want to do where dishwashers use less water, right? But in reality, you actually use more water because instead of doing one load of dishes, now you have to run two or three loads.
And it's like, look,
and also
what you're doing.
Also with the dishwasher before, you could put the dish in the dishwasher and clean it out. Now you got to take the water from the sink, rinse everything off.
Right.
So it's just wasting water.
I saw this like kid's toy yesterday and it like, it had like, it was like a kitchen and it had the section for recycling in it. And I just kind of like want to go to that company and be like, why do you guys have this recycling section here? Cool. Oh, it's because you believe in recycling? Cool. Like, oh, wow, you really believe, wow. Like, what do you guys, are you putting your money where your mouth is? Are you practicing what your preach? Let's look at your business. Or are you guys actually just making money selling toys to kids that encourage them to recycle and encourage them to respect the environment while you're doing none of it and you're making money off of this message? So that's, that's what everyone's sick of. Like, people
Like
say one
said,
thing and do the other.
Like you said like before, that's performative stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that the jig's up. The jig's up, dude. The jig's up left, right, everywhere. And I think it's exciting again in this time of AI and everything's easy to fake. In the sense that also if you are trying your best and you let people know, like, I'm here to do well and do a good job, I think it kind of gives you some sort of advantage in the sense of just authenticity is so rare now.
So how much do you trust AI?
Definitely. I would view it like HR. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're not on your side 100%, but
can you say that again? HR's not on your side. HR for the business.
They're the businesses.
So many people think HR for the employee, but it's not.
Exactly. So I would say AI, I love like I was showing you, like it can be insanely helpful, but it's not your friend.
Do you think there's any job AI will not be able to do?
Well, let me think about it. Okay. And I'll tell you next time I'm on the podcast.
Here's a question for you. I've asked other people this on the podcast. So let's suppose you're having surgery, right? Like heart surgery.
Would you rather have a doctor or AI?
Yeah.
I guess AI, right?
Yeah.
Robot? So, but not at this day and age, I guess. I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Yeah.
But do you know that I read something like 60% of like breast cancer was like misdiagnosed?
Yeah. And AI got it right. Yeah.
And or it's like doctors were saying you have breast cancer, you don't actually, and then people are getting their breast removed, and like it turns out like 60% weren't. So I'm like, what in the world?
So this one
So
guy,
is the AI actually lying too?
So this one guy asked a question. He said, "I want to have a surgeon, right? I don't trust AI yet." I said, "This makes it more complicated. What if your doctor? What if you found out your doctor was finished last in his class and had like 2 or 3 malpractice suits?
Right.
Oh, AI then, right?
So I heard the Department of like New York Health talk about AI once, and he was like saying like he came and spoke at like Microsoft or something. And I went to a speech, and he was saying that they're starting to use AI with doctors because doctors have like only actually like a 40% accuracy rate, and now the AI is bringing up an extra 30%. So actually, they're hitting now with the help of AI like 70% accurate rate. So I love that.
Here's a scary stat.
I guess.
Supposedly, of all the murders committed in the United States, only 50% are solved. Like 50% of murders go unsolved, which to me is
were they even correctly solved?
That's damn good point.
Or were they just like that guy?
Yeah, damn good point. Yeah.
So
That's
again,
to me, that's fucking scary.
I'm just saying. I mean, at any moment, they could find a reason.
It's not a lie, right?
At any moment, they could find a reason to lock you forever and then call you the crazy one. So that's like that guy. What's his name or whatever? And then he said like, you know, like he said like I'm happy and like remember the guy like Edward Norton or whatever or like whatever his name is, and he was like always in like the tinfoil, and he was the one that made like Norton antivirus, but actually like then he was like actually because everything's tracking you, and then he said like I'd never ever commit suicide, and then like one day and then he just suddenly had, and it's like did he? So you know that's how you feel.
There's just a lot of insane, crazy stuff going on in the world right now.
Yeah, and I think again it's that conversation too, and and that's like this guy. There's like one of my favorite people, like Ian Carroll. And he's kind of always like getting to the bottom of things. And he said like now he's trying to collect from everyone around the world. He's like, wait a minute, can everyone tell me the names of your publishers, of your textbook publishers from when you were in school? I want to see who's making all the textbooks. Right. And so at the same time, as much as everything's crazy in the world, well, where's it coming from? And so kind of like looking at the root of who's supplying these textbooks, who's that voice, and who are these people educating people? It's so funny. I saw this movie called Snowpiercer. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie before. It actually like it was like one of the Harry Weinstein's or whatever last movies, in the sense that like he got exposed after that. But this movie was like really amazing, and then at the end it didn't go to theaters because this, that, and the other. And so it's kind of this like undercover cult classic following, and that the premise is like the world, they sprayed all this stuff into the sky to defeat global warming, but they ended up overdoing it and they ended up freezing the earth. But this guy saw that coming. And so he started building this self-sufficient train that would just run forever and run around the earth. And it was, you know, self-powered. And then that way everyone could survive earth freezing over on this train. And so he kind of could see the future coming. He goes, this isn't going to work. He warned everybody, buy my tickets to my train. And then it's true, the whole earth freezes over. And the only place to survive is this train. And then this train, it was like based off a comic book turned into a movie. It's split up into this class system. And there's the third class, and they literally eat cockroaches and made into bars. And that's what they eat every single meal. And they're the workers, and then the middle class is kind of, you know, like the accountants and the, you know, whatever, and they have some food, and then there's the luxury that live at the top, and they have raves and spas and a swimming pool, and they even have like an aquarium in the front, and it's everyone's living this way. And the whole thing is this sort of rebellion of the third class. They, you know, they do this thing and they break through to get to the front of the train. And then you find out in the end too, there was a guy working in the third class with the conductor of the train planning this revolution, because they said, we got to kind of get you guys, keep you guys entertained every now and then to kind of keep order. There needs to be a revolution every now and then to kind of keep people feeling like they're making progress.
And people say that too, like there's all this entertainment out there, football games, concerts that keep us like, you know, distracted, so to speak, right?
So the more that I look at exactly, and then it's so funny because like the kids on the school, there's the kids in the second class and the third class trains, and they go to the school, and the school on this train is Winston's the best. Winston's the best. Thank God for Winston. He saved us. The whole world's because of Winston. They have all these songs that are, you know, like praising this leader of the train. And in the same ways, I'm kind of like, that's exactly what's going on here. You know, like we already have this class system. There are people eating bugs. Like there are people telling us what to read in the schools. Like there are people just like so rich that they're just going to raves all day and hanging out in spas. And then there are like, and then actually you find out the children, like some of the pieces broke, and now they have literal children running the train. They find out there's like under the board, and they go, oh, that system, like this guy makes it at the top, and he almost gets convinced. And then they open it up and they see a child's under there. Because like that piece had broken. However, this train's going, and they got to keep it. So now they have little children. And so I think the more it's that's what I'm saying. Like there's so many of these movies that the more you look at them, you're like, wait a minute. Oh, like, of course it could get worse. But
they were telling the truth. They were telling us.
Happening right exactly now. And so that's where you're like, oh God. Yeah. So I think that's so again, with this textbook thing, and what are they teaching us, and where's this information coming from? Well, it's all coming from something, and there's a reason. You know, and I think I have this advantage because I'm an exception as a child of America, or not is that not exception? Because I moved so much like an army kid or, whatever. I moved like a million times. So I didn't have one consistent education. I was constantly getting different and, never two strong friends and never two, my hobbies were my friends, and like kind of just adapting. And so possibly that's why I have this kind of strange perspective where, I see things more as like a forest than the tree. But I'm like, yeah, just so many of these movies. I'm like, we're living in that. Like I said, like there's a book about the Great Depression, and it got to the point that like the people could not afford anything. And so they're having to like live on these camps that their businesses supply. It's like they work for, Henry Ford or whatever, like Elon Musk, and then like, like they don't have any money, but oh my God, he took us in and he gave us a house. And then they get so in debt that they're working for this guy to pay off the house that he provided. And then they have to shop at his grocery store and then they get caught. And I'm like, how is that not exactly happening today? There's just no one guy that we're looking at, but we all are like so in debt that we can't afford a house, that then we need to borrow their money to then be able to buy their food that is overpriced. And like, we're just kind of, it's begun. And so that's what they say, like, there's two ways to enslave a nation: weapon, by guns or by debt. And I think it's 100%. And I think this is one of the ways out.
I saw somewhere that all the world's countries are in debt, like $21 trillion. They're saying that,
Okay.
like, so we just like
91, I think. The whole entire, I think the global GDP, like the global debt is equivalent of the global GDP right now.
So if we were just like wipe all the debt clean, start over again, like,
so
would that like economic like implications?
Okay, so again, like what I heard someone say is, if you're in a hole, stop. You're in a hole, stop digging. You know what I mean? It's like everyone's in debt, so let's all go, oops, we're all in debt, and then like actually address it. However, I know that like one idea people had was get everyone so desperate and so, like one way this could go is that the economy crashes so much, prices get so expensive that everyone literally turns so desperate. Then, this like CBDC thing is they create a new currency, and it's like also digital. So, it's really hard to say like what's going to happen. I mean, because really, we could just hit insane hyperinflation, and then really like, we hit like Germany, wasn't it like $20,000 for a chicken, right? Like, I mean, we could hit that, we could hit this, we could do anything, we could revive, like anything really like could happen, I have no clue.
I'll make this up. Like, let's take the example. Let's use the country of Austria, right? Let's suppose Austria owes the World Bank $100 billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Austria says like, we can't afford to pay him, we're not gonna pay no more. Like, what actually happens? Like, it's not like the World Bank becomes the owner of Austria, right? Like,
I understand that's like, okay, and I really don't know a lot about it, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going on with, like, again, I don't know anything, but I'm pretty sure, like, I keep hearing like rumors of Switzerland, that apparently Switzerland has like 100%, they're completely insolvent, and now, but I've like no one's trying to like acknowledge it and act like everything's fine. And so now all these people are like bailing them out and trying to act like everything's fine. And so I think, again, I just think we're like, I don't know anything, but like, what's that? What, Switzerland's insolvent? Like, what is this sentence I'm saying? And like, what would that look like? So I just think we're in for a show.
And you think that any country would not do that would be Switzerland? You think Switzerland would be the last country, right?
Apparently, like,
do you think it was Swiss banks, people putting money there to be safeguarded,
Right. And I guess apparently, like, because this, that, and the other, and they're like over risky things. And then if they were to start printing more, it would trigger, like they can't print anymore, but also they don't have any more. Like, again, I don't know. Again, all this stuff I don't know about. And but it's like, I would love to learn it. It's like fascinating. And what do you do? It's like chess. What do you do?
How much do you know about the gold standard from back in the day?
I mean, I understand the idea of it, of like putting a value on dollars, and I even had this conversation with my student's mom, and I'll tell you the true story of like what happened is basically my student, while we were tutoring, we were learning about the homeless, and she went and took a picture of him like kind of behind his back, and he was like, Mom, stop, like I really don't like when you take pictures of me without telling me. And I was like, that's a true point, and then I talked to his mom later, and I was like, I see what you're saying, like I see why you wanted to take it because it's authentic, but okay, so the point is, like, for example, let's look at the action of taking a picture. 20 years ago, if you took a picture, you bought a camera, and you only have 30 pictures you can take. So every click is like an investment and an opportunity. These days, you can take 1 million and so that's why we're not even, like before you had to make this agreement, like, okay, we agree, we're going to pose, let's take this picture because we only have 30 chances. Now it doesn't matter at all. I think the same thing's happening like with our financial system and our dollar. We agree this dollar is worth this gold. Okay, this dollar counts, this color counts, this dollar counts. And then suddenly once they remove the value of a dollar, you can just print them forever. And so, yeah.
Do you think the US dollar will ever be at risk of not being the currency in the world?
Yeah, that's like, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what people are studying now. I mean, like lots of people are looking into what happens next. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, there's so many intelligent people. that like if we put if we put the right people, there's plenty of people who know exactly what's going on and not really even how to solve this. Like I just wish we could put like a smart committee. I just like, oh, it's like that's why it's tough. That's what's so hard about playing video games. Like I don't play too many video games, but like like these like city design games, or like stuff you're like, man, if this was a video game, we could fix this real quickly. Like, but yeah, I think
So do
a
you
lot of these problems aren't too big to solve. We
so
just
do
need the
you
right.
believe people are inherently good or inherently bad?
I think good.
Good.
And I just think like in the short term, you can get yourself caught up more and more and more and more and more into trouble. And and I think there's like a big theme in I'm lucky that I grew up in like a house where I had money, honestly. And I think a lot of people don't. And then when they start finding success, they start getting paid and they get paid. And actually, that's a predatory thing too, is like you make someone hyper successful and dependent on money. And then you can kind of take advantage of that. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I think people start off good and then they start wanting to kind of maintain either this sense of rich or whatever, or, like you're working in these systems that aren't good. And, it just takes being brave throughout the way and maybe, stepping away from the temptation of, making the soldier outfit. You can get another job, but are you going to get paid that well? So
Yeah.
again, it's like tough. It's so freaking tough. The world's tough.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Hey, can you talk about why you had to move around so much as a kid?
Oh, like my parents got divorced when I was 9, and then I mean, why not? Even I don't know. It's just like indecisive parents, just
Like your
moving,
parents
moving, moving,
they just
moving. Like
because of jobs or they wanted
like
to?
divorce, and then like for some reason, like I guess I wasn't liking like my parents didn't like that school, so I moved to another. I mean, I think by college, by the time I finished schooling, I've been to like 12 schools.
And you grew up in the United States?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Like different states or
Michigan, yeah, born in Michigan,
okay.
outside of Michigan, and then North Carolina,
Okay.
Chicago, Florida, Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I always was like, West Coast, I'm so cool. And I like it here. I like it here all right.
Yeah. You've been here like 2 or 3 years, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And why Seattle versus the Bay Area, or LA, or someplace else on the West Coast?
Actually, first I was thinking California, but then I was like looking at the prices and also kind of the stereotype of California is like everyone's like, the stereotype is like looking good, a little bit judgmental. It's a very competitive atmosphere, especially for acting or, entertainment. And I knew I wanted to get into educational entertainment. And I just felt like Seattle was a little more easygoing. You didn't always have to have your hair brushed.
Yeah.
And that probably I felt like I could really fit in or be a little bit exceptional in Seattle. Whereas in California, I didn't feel like I would probably kind of try to be, I'd be like
Yeah.
trying to be cool there. Cause like, I don't know, California intimidated me, but I just felt like Seattle would be better for my personality.
So I might have asked you this before, but what are your goals for your company like the next 3 or 6 months? Like what are your short-term goals for your company in the next 6 months?
Well, I'd like us to get our new website out at some point. I would be cool if I could get some like really quality songs that, lots of people can agree sound good. And just kind of keep my team, happy and working hard. I think if I still have everyone on board, all my team, and I didn't do much to change, that shows that things are really going well. If everyone's still enjoying their work. And so yeah, that like at this point I'm just trying to build a strong team that, loves their work. And
So Kelly, how do you take care of yourself, either physically or mentally? How do you make sure you take care of yourself with all the stuff you're doing?
well, like I said, I don't know, I'm kind of like I cut a lot of stuff out of my life, a lot of distractions. I don't know, I try to like I have some, good influences around me and good friends, and I'm pretty easily influenced. And so like, yeah, like, some of my friends are like, like to be honest, like into like tea. So like, I don't know, drinking like lots of different tea and learning like what different teas do at different times. And, like, I don't know, just learning a little bit more nutrition. And I guess again, the other thing too would be trying not to do too much and getting people to help you and getting people help. And I don't know, whatever. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That's
So
it.
anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, we covered so much, and yeah, I just think, I don't know. Okay, I guess I don't know. I'm like trying to think of something clever. I guess it's just like this is like, really jump into it, but I think back in like, what do they say? Like the 30s or the 20s or the 40s, they removed all financial literacy from education. And so if you feel stupid and you feel like you don't know anything, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Wall to the vault. I was thinking like we should say something like that. It's literally not your fault. It was done on purpose. But if you just think of it logically, if you can figure out how to invest, you're literally just going to make money. And then you're like, ha 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 ha, screw you, work and society. Like I just figured out how to make money and I hacked you guys at your own game. And now what are you going to do with me? So, just believe in yourself if you want, or do whatever you want. Yeah.
Hey Kelly, thanks for being here again.
Thank you. Oh, And I got you a gift.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
Here you go. These amazing fruit delights.
Thank
They're
you.
like, really good. Little
And this are a gift for me.
candy.
The
Oh,
last
that was the
time.
last time too.
Thank
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks everyone for joining. And write in the comments your favorite thing of today's podcast.
Yes.
And what
yes.
you'd like to know more about and any of your favorite one-liner jokes.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
See you.